try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge of name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for heal wounds, undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall for justice and truth, we'll risk it all. My life mattered is the cry we sing. Together we rise, let freedom ring.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Lies, our new episodes on Friday nights to call out the witnesses in the Karen Reed trial for justice for John O'Keefe. So welcome. I'm Catherine Page. I am your fearless leader, as some of the other podcasters like to say. So I've never said it before, by the way. I thought I'd throw that in there. But I am actually the founder of Social Change Warriors. We are a 5-year-old movement, and we recently started live streaming in August it was. So we are glad to be here. We're excited to have all of you. We appreciate our regulars, our subscribers so much, and their support that they've given to us and the families that we're standing for justice. We are all justice seekers. At the end of the day, everybody wants justice for those that have been wronged. And there is no greater call than those that were unalived by the hands of someone else. And the families deserve to know what happened to them and deserve to see that person arrested and go to trial. And ultimately, if they did do it, go to jail and pay the price for taking their loved one from them. So we can't thank you enough. Thank you to everybody on replay. We're just happy to start this new series. We have been streaming on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays is our night for women, where we empower women. We talk about women. We uphold women. We discuss everything and anything of issues that have to do with women and their well-being in our society. So that is our Angry Bitch Club night, because a lot of it has to do with the buzzing around. That's our little buzzing bees logo that we use, because a lot of it, there is a lot of unjust issues. But some nights we actually have fun and we laugh and we talk, and we have spa nights, and we have nights where we just talk about what it's like to be single for those of us that are, what it's like to stay married for those of you that stay married. We talk about women's stuff. So guys, you're always welcome on Wednesdays, but it is primarily all about chicks. Thursdays is where we get super serious and we talk about calling out corruption. And you have seen our lives in the since August. We are standing for all those beautiful humans that I showed you while you were listening to our new theme song. And thank you to our tech department, our creative department, for everything you did this week to make that song come out for us so awesomely. And we're working on a video for you. But for now, I just showed you slides of all of the victims of murders and crimes that we are standing for right now, and their families. So we're hoping to bring them, we're hoping whatever part we can play will help bring them the justice that they deserve, with everyone else that's trying to get that justice for them as well. So Fridays is our new show. Welcome to Friday Night Lights. I want to bring up my crew tonight. I'm going to add Annette up to our stage, add Deirdre up to the stage, and Amber's back. Her son is better, so she's here tonight, voice only, but she's back. Welcome back, Amber.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you, guys. I'm so happy to be back. I wish I could be on camera, but I'm exhausted after a full day of work, and we got home from the hospital yesterday, and laundry and taking care of the kid and meds but I still wanted to be with you all. I'm ready to get back into the swing of things, and I'm blessed. God is good always, and I thank you all for your prayers and your good thoughts all the time. I thank you so much. I don't think he would have gotten better without that intervention of prayer. So thank you for everybody that did that.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody was here for you. And yes, we have a great team here right now at Social Change Warriors, but we are 7 cases deep right now. And my original goal was no more than 10 at a time when I started this in August. So it's rough some weeks to keep track of all our families and all of the different emails. And we're getting tips from, as the more we live stream, we're getting tips. We had tips from all 3 of our major cases today. Our major cases that we talked about this week for you, we had tips coming in the last 2 days. It's just been really something, and I'm grateful to all of you. Many of you want to remain anonymous, and that's understandable, but thank you. So we may need to ask for more help. We may need more volunteers to help read police reports and help us surf and sift through all of the information that we are being given by the families, and a lot of other YouTube creators, content creators that we're trying to share information with as well. So we may need you. So if any of you are interested in research and reading police reports or autopsies, and you want to join Social Change Warriors, just let me know. Send me an email. We'd be happy to have you. We are completely volunteer at this time. We are not monetized at all. And I had a lot of requests for donations this week, but we're not there yet. We want to keep building slow. And if we do get to that point, we want to have an accountant, and we do want everything to be gone and put into the program only for management of the program, and then to the families for helping with costs of lawyers. And like in Michelle's case, she's printing off 2,000 flyers to put up in freeze for Sarah Ebersol for her missing sister. And Kara Veach has incurred major costs with the police department. We found out last night they charged her over $1,000 for her body cam footage, her police reports. So it's just, and then of course, Sandy, her husband, the Greenbergs, they're well into $700,000 since their dear Ellen was taken from them in 2011. So we want to figure out how we can help the families and cover our program costs, but we do not want to be a for-profit at all. So we're working on that. Thank you to all of the kind people that offered to send us donations this week. I really appreciated it, and we'll get there. We're just not quite there yet. We want to be organized with our accounting, and we want to be accountable to you, those of you that do donate to us. So thank you so much.
And also, I just want to say, if somebody has a specialty, like Annette or Reality Check is a former nurse, or Deirdre, who has been in I believe it was the police, Army, and the Army police and dispatch. So the specialties that each of everybody gives with their opinions on these cases and from where they're coming from really helps us see things in different lights. And so any help that you can offer and any specialty you have would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. And that's taught me so much about the body since I've met her, different aspects. And same with Deirdre. They're both really good at looking at these autopsy reports, which are very difficult to look at. I felt sort of panic attacks this week from what we've had to cover, because we covered Ellen on Wednesday, we covered Kara, and with Jason's death, and then with Michelle's missing sister yesterday. So it's been a lot for us. And then we did start a new case this week that also involves looking at some pretty horrific injuries. So Yeah, we're going to need spa night sooner than I think would be my guess. So we're going to keep doing that for all of our social change warriors so we can have some decompression, and we have to keep ourselves healthy in order to stand for the families and the victims. So we can't let ourselves go down too far or that's not good or healthy.
Looking at you beautiful ladies, the spa days are working. Like, you look fabulous. And I don't just say that. I don't give out compliments like candy. You look so beautiful, and I could only strive to look that gorgeous in the few years when I catch up.
Well, yes, you are like our daughter, you know, we're all old enough to be your mother. I am anyway. I don't think Annette is. I think Annette's old enough to be your big sister, but I'm definitely old enough to be your mom.
I might be old enough to be her mom.
Maybe.
I don't know how old
we all would be. Yeah, if we had an 18-year-old child, we could probably all be old enough to be
my
your
oldest mom. Is 36, so
I'm 43.
40. Or going to be 40
well,
this year.
See, you're still old. I'm still old enough to be your mom if I would have had you young.
I love this. Yeah. Deirdre is like, Deirdre, you are serious. She's like, it's Friday Night Lights. Bring me that big coffee mug. I need caffeine for this. Show us that mug again, Deirdre, because that's some serious business going on there.
It's a chai latte.
I love it.
Well, thank you to all of our team live tonight in the chat. You guys are awesome. You always bring the best comments. You make us think about things differently. So we're really happy to have you. I will put up your questions and your chats as we go along tonight as often and as much as I can. So, hey, Sherry D, thanks for being here tonight. Great to see you. Julie, craziest person on earth, always inevitably will make me laugh twice and make me smile at least 5 times. She keeps us laughing and happy, even though we're covering dark, scary things, because we have to, like I said, we have to keep the humor, we have to keep the joy in our own lives in order to support victims of crimes and their families. There's no other way you can go about that, or you will end up very depressed and you will not be good in your own life. So please remember that, all of you watching this on replay and those of you that are with us tonight. So great. Let's just jump in. We're going to start with Chris. So let me pull up our audio for Chris. So Chris, believe it or not, and I didn't remember this, and tell me in the chat if you did, our social change warriors and justice seekers in our chat tonight, Chris's prosecution testimony was only 34 minutes long. Do you guys remember that?
Really?
Yeah. Felt longer.
But it was short. And now the defense is another story. That might take us a while to surf through that, but I think we'll be able to go through the prosecution pretty quickly. So let's get started. This is going to be interesting. We'll see what the Lie-O-meter brings us. Oh, and for those of you that were wondering, I did put a poll on Twitter X last week, and I believe it came out like 14 people voted, which isn't, I was hoping for more, but it's a decent amount. And 7% voted she was 100% honest. And then it was almost 42 to 42 for evasive. And then the last one, you could choose evasive and that she lied. So 42%, almost to 42% basically chose evasive and lied. And then the other 7 to 8 or whatever it worked out to be chose that she was 100% honest. So I would love to chat with them. I'd like to know why they thought that. Like, why did you think she was 100% honest? Because she might have not lied, but she was definitely evasive. There's no question in my mind, as former law enforcement and a social worker, I've interviewed lots of people in my life. She was evasive. That one, we should have had 0% on the 100% honest, unfortunately.
Okay, so, I'm voting that the person either hit the wrong button or misread it. So it said 100% not honest. And you know how sometimes you fill in words. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah. Well, we could do that. We could definitely do that. Okay. So let's see here. Let me make sure the way they label these with Court TV is it doesn't tell me. Okay, there it is. That's the one I want. Got it. All right. Be prepared for some fan action. That's the first thing that will come up.
Oh, by the way, before we get going, Amber, come down and get your crappy weather and take it back home. I don't want it here anymore.
Listen,
we have 4 inches of snow on the ground.
Oh my God.
I like snow. We haven't gotten
Is that a record, Annette? Is that a record, 4 inches of snow?
I mean, I don't know the whole time that South Carolina has been South Carolina, but for us, we've been here 10 years, and that is absolutely the record.
Got it. I figured. I mean, I know I have a lot of colleagues from when I went to USC out in California, social work colleagues all over the country. And I got a lot of interesting emails and PMs and DMs this week from people that I know in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Houston. My cousin lives in Houston. She was, they had to stay home for 2 days because they don't have plows. They had to borrow them from Dallas.
We did too. They didn't have any plow. They don't have any plows here.
Yeah, the stories have been crazy. Okay, let's revisit
Let's do
Mr.
this.
Chris Albert. And so how this is going to work, everybody who's with us tonight and those of you on the replay, we're going to pause every once in a while just to digest and talk because it's too much to just come back and like listen to 20 minutes and then try to recap it. So we're going to pause. Well, I'm going to pause it when I need to if there's something that I really feel I need to have the ladies talk about. But we definitely want to pause like every 3 or 4 minutes because this is fair use and we're using this under fair use. So we are using it for discussion and education purposes, but we still want to pause appropriately. So thank you to Court TV. Thank you to the Law of Fair Use. And let's see what Lally had to say. Let me know you can hear it. I'm just giving you your fan for a few minutes for those of you that missed the fan.
Oh, Fanny. Hi, Fanny.
There's quite a bit of fan, actually. There we go. So
I never thought I would say I would miss the fan.
Hey. All persons have any business.
You can hear it?
Yes, we can.
Great.
Father County of Norfolk. Draw a name, give your attendance, you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This court is now open. You may be seated.
22-117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Can I have counsel identify themselves for the record?
Alex in the Commonwealth. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Lally.
Good morning, Your Honor. Laura McLaughlin for the
Good
Commonwealth.
morning, Ms. McLaughlin.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alan Jackson from Ms. Reed.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Little, also on behalf of Ms. Reed.
Good morning, Ms. Little.
Good morning, Your Honor. David Unetti for Karen Reed.
Good morning, Mr. Yannetti. Good morning, Ms. Reed. Good morning, jurors.
I might make a suggestion
I have to ask you
that
those
you
same
might
three
want to
questions.
speed
Was
it
everyone
up a little
able
bit.
to follow the instructions and refrain
For
from
Lally.
discussing this case with anyone?
Like do 1.25. He speaks slow.
Yeah. Okay. You
How do we
guys
do
are
that?
asking me to do something that I've never done. So let me see if I can do it. I may have to practice
It's
with
playback
Latin
speed.
time.
Read
I'm
from
looking
the bottom.
Right there.
Yeah, I see it. Yep. There we go. Okay. Great idea, guys. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. We want to go at no, we don't want normal.
Scroll down. Scroll down. Or that way.
Did you say you wanted to go to 1.5?
I'd say with Lally, usually typically 1.25 is good.
Yeah, I don't want to be
But- or-
I don't want to be too far because then I don't really like. So when TB's on, and I appreciate what he's doing, but they talk too fast, and then I'm like, what?
He does it
What?
like
What?
175 or
Yeah,
2
I can't.
sometimes.
I'm
Right.
sorry, guys. I'm 61. I cannot do that. So, okay. Thanks for the suggestion. Let's try it at 1.25. Let's see what happens. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that, Annette and Amber.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case?
Yes.
Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, even inadvertently, since we met yesterday? Okay, so I am going to see counsel at sidebar for just a moment.
Oh, man.
Everyone's-
Sidebar.
Most people said no. I will see the juror who raised.
Sidebar. Okay. We got a sidebar already. Here we go. Here we
yeah.
go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay.
Back to the stand.
Bye-bye.
Sidebar.
Watch your step up.
Can I say one quick thing? I'm so sorry to interject.
Counsel, give the court during the case now hearing for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
It started.
Uh-oh, hang on a second. It takes me a couple seconds to leave. I'm gonna get back out where I have to go. Okay.
I just wanted to say, as the camera panned, I saw Karen Reed's face. And I don't know if it's like acting school that she needs to go to. Like everybody's suggesting she works on her face for the trial 2.0 because it can come across as, RBF, if you know what I'm saying. But how do you do that? Like, is it like an actor that, and I feel torn about that. Like, I'm like, let her be who she is, but at the same time, she's trying to save her life. So how does a woman who that's just what her face looks like, and that's the faces she naturally makes, how does she change that without being without acting? And do we
You
really
go-
want her to be acting?
You basically just go in there with a blank face. You sit in the mirror, you look at yourself, and you just have a blank face. You make sure that you're not grimacing. You make sure that you're not smiling or smirking, because she does come off as a juror, she does come off like she's looking angry or pissed off. And she needs to go in the mirror and look at herself in the mirror and sit there and listen to the testimonies while she's doing it, and make sure that her face is non-emotional at all.
That's great.
That's actually great advice.
As you get older, your mouth downturns. So maybe some Botox to lift it up a little. No, I know that sounds
another
trite,
good suggestion. That's
good advice from both of you. Good advice from both of you. So I'll tell you, we actually get trained on that in the police academy for when we have to go to court, because it's also very hard not to make faces when you are on the stand, when the prosecutors or the defense attorneys, whichever the case may be, whatever, you may be on the stand for the defense because you might have not written a ticket, or they might be there for a reason that you might be there to testify on their behalf opposed to the prosecutor's behalf. So they do train you on that in the police academy a little bit, on how to stay calm, how to train your mind to just not react. But I have to tell you,
Carino didn't do a very good job with this hot mic. Kill me.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was not good. We'll get to that, obviously, but it's very hard to do. And if you're not a super like emotional person, it's much easier to do, because even people that aren't super emotional, they don't wear their hearts on their sleeves. They don't even tend to show their emotion very often. They're very like level. But people like me, I show my emotions. My emotions are on my sleeve. If something is making me crazy, my face will tell you that I'm going crazy, or that I'm mad, or that I'm happy or sad. So for people like me, it would be much harder. And Karen Reed has that type of personality as well. She wears her emotions on her sleeve. And so what she's feeling at the moment is going to show up on her face. Whether people think it's appropriate or not, it's not that she's in her mind saying, oh, let me be inappropriate, let me make a bad face. That's not how it works. Your emotions just come out of you. And especially when you're under heat like that. And can you imagine sitting there and you know that people are lying about you, and you have to sit there and listen to people lying about you, if that's what we believe is happening, right? A lot of us believe that, many do not. But anyway, that's just my insight. That was a great comments, guys. Great observation, Amber. Oh, and thank you, Julie. I thank you, Sherry D, for that was so sweet of you. She says, Kat, you seriously have an amazing team of super strong, intellectual, fearless women. Absolutely. And like I said, we are always happy to have you if you want to help us in any capacity. And I don't put time limits on these ladies. They can attest to that. I let them do what they want to do. And I'm pretty careful of how I treat their time. I don't ever want anybody to feel overdone. We are volunteers right now. I am retired, so I don't have to go to work every day. I just have other things I have to attend to in my life, but this is my volunteer project. So I don't put any type of pressure. I have never given them like, you need to give me 3 hours, or if you don't show up in every one of my chats to wrench for me, you're out of here, which is what happened to me. Okay. And then we'll talk about that someday, but not tonight. But I got booted for not being in every single one of somebody's lives and donating 10 hours of my life for free while I'm live streaming myself. So that is not very nice in my opinion. And it should have been handled differently.
Move along, Kat. Move along.
Do that to any of
Move
my
along, Kat. Move along.
That's right. I would never do that to any of my amazing team. And so they are allowed to give as much as they can give, or as little as they can give in a particular week. So don't feel time pressured if you do decide to volunteer with me. If you gave me an hour, I would be honored. If you gave me 30 minutes, I would be honored. So thank you. So anyway, back we go to Mr. Christopher.
All right, go right ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Oops.
Trooper Proctor, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind to turn to tab 2 in the
I hit
binder in
the
front of you.
wrong button. Time out. I don't know how that happened, guys. So shoot.
Well, I think we all just it was a Freudian slip. We would rather see Jackson. So we were like, let's just forward it.
Yeah.
The brain was like, I don't want to see Lally.
Yep. So time out a minute now. I'm going to have to go back in and grab my I don't exactly know how I got here, and so I'm not exactly sure how to go back to where I want to go. So I'm going to go back and just grab my tab that I need to grab from the deck. And then I must have hit a forward to the next video somehow.
Oh, can't you get back to the video you were on?
I don't know. I can try. Did you say just go back, hit the back button?
Like, isn't there a back button on the left side of the screen? Like if you hover your mouse over the left side of the screen.
No, there's not for some weird reason. There's just a play button. Yeah, it's not. No.
Yeah, just do how you have to do it.
It's only forward. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to quickly go back into the slide deck and grab it. So
no worries. Gives us more time to talk about how red Chris Albert gets in the face and how he can't hold his temper. So we're talking about holding your face. We're all criticizing Karen, and she's the defendant. And look at some of the witnesses and how they reacted. You know, Jen McCabe, Chris Albert that we're going to see. So it gives us more time to just talk about what we've already known and what we're looking for.
The one thing that as we get into this, we're going to see it. The one thing that really caught me was both Julie and Chris said that Brian Albert and Brian Higgins arrived together. And when we go on to Brian Higgins and Brian Albert's testimonies, they didn't say that.
Good point. And write that down if you would, please, Annette, to write that down.
Yep, I have that.
Okay, I've got it. I'm going to hit it. Let me know that you can hear it.
Yep, we're good. We're good.
Thanks.
We're back on track.
Okay.
Let's give the court and jury the case out here. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
And now we got to listen to Lolly ask him about the weather and who sat where and what he ate and what he drank. And
was it a high top bar? Was the band there?
How high is the high top?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Could you please state your name and spell your
Was
last
there a
name?
band?
It's Christopher Albert, Albert.
And where do you live, sir?
I live at 22 Maple Street, Unit L, Canton, Mass.
And how long have you lived there?
Almost 2 years. Sorry, go ahead.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
Since 1974.
And so pretty much your whole life.
Pretty much since I was 4.
And prior to living in Maple, where did you live in Canton before that?
7 Meadows Ave in Canton.
And how long did you live at 7 Meadows?
From 2001 to 2021, about 20 years.
And who, if anyone, do you live with now?
I live with my wife, Julie, my oldest son, who just came home from the Navy, my middle son, Colin, and my youngest son, Dylan.
Dylan likes to kick rabbits.
How long have you and your wife, Julie, been married?
Roughly, gosh, you're going to kill me. 21 years, around 21 years.
You mentioned you and your wife, Julie, you have 3 sons?
Yep.
And how old are they?
My oldest is 25, my middle is 20, and my youngest is 16.
And Colin was in the house.
Now, do you work, sir?
Yes, I do.
What do you do?
I'm self-employed. I own a small pizza shop.
What's the name of the pizza?
It's called D&E Pizza.
And how long?
We make mediocre chicken parm.
25 years this March.
And why don't you tell people you work for the select board?
Prior to that, did you work sort of in the same industry?
Same industry pretty much my whole life.
And does your wife work?
She does not.
Does she help out with the D&E Pizza Shop?
She does some of this behind the scenes stuff.
He's on the
Yes.
select board.
Now, when you lived on Meadows Avenue, did you have occasion to become familiar with someone named John?
Yes, I did.
And how is it that you knew John?
So he bought the 1 Meadows Ave, the top house. I don't know exactly, maybe like 2017. So he became my neighbor. And I guess just from me driving by his house and coming home, I saw him would wave to him and stuff. And that's how I initially became to know who John was.
And you mentioned he bought the house at sort of the top of the street. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's if you're coming off Pleasant, you take a right down Meadows. It's the first on the right.
And then on Meadows Ave, about how many houses are on Meadows?
Well,
Why do we need to know
between
this,
us or all
Wally?
down the whole street, you mean?
First down the whole street and then between.
Yeah, so roughly on the whole street, I would say there's like close to 30 houses from top to bottom on both sides.
And then how about in between 1 and 7?
So there's two houses between
You can't
mine and
count,
John's.
Wally?
And your house is both odd numbers. Are they on the same side?
Same side, yeah.
Now, you said that that's how you initially came to know John O'Keefe. How did your relationship sort of go on from there?
So over the years, like he was friendly with some other folks that I was friends with.
Your son
so
cut through his
we
yard.
maybe be out occasionally and bump into him, but he would also come to my pizza shop a lot. He would
Your
take his
son woke him up?
nephew Patrick in my pizza shop a lot. So it was not uncommon for him to stop by a couple days a week. Usually just grab a slice.
That wasn't honest.
Now,
He went a couple times a
grew up
week.
in
I don't believe
Gettysburg?
that.
Yes,
And,
No,
yeah,
it wasn't honest that
I
that's
do.
how
I have 6.
their interaction was, because there were
what
issues
are
with
the
Colin
names of your 6 siblings?
So my oldest
throwing
is
the beer
my older
cans in
brother
there and
Brian.
being outside of his house in the morning, late
I have a
night.
sister Kathleen.
That's not true.
I have she's older than me. And then I'm next in line. And then I have a brother, Kevin, then a brother, Keith, Brendan, and Timmy. 7 of us.
Where is it that you sort of fit in that sort of?
I'm the third oldest.
Now, your older brother, Brian, what does he do for work?
He's a Boston police officer, or he was. He's recently retired.
And your brother, Kevin, what does he do?
He's a Canton police officer.
And John O'Keefe, were you familiar with what he did for work?
Yes. Yeah, I knew he was a Boston police officer as well.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to January 28th, 2022. Do you recall that day?
Yes, I do.
And
See,
do you recall what day of the week that
that's
was?
deceptive.
It's a Friday, I believe.
And were you working at the D&E Pizza Shop on that day?
I was.
And at some point in time in the afternoon, who, if anyone of note, sort of came into D&E?
John came in that day with his nephew, Patrick.
Who, if
And,
anyone, came in?
what did they get?
5 customers in
I
total.
think they just got 2 slices of pizza, if I recall correctly.
And what, if any, conversation did you have with Mr. O'Keefe as far as plans for later in the year?
So he asked me if I had any plans that night, and I said, unfortunately, it's Friday, and I'm working pretty much till close. And I said, but it's my nephew's birthday, and I know a bunch of people are heading out, and I was planning on meeting up with them later when I got out of work. So I think I said to him, I said to him, I'll shoot you a text later if you're around. Maybe we can hook up.
So in that sense, sort of, how would you describe your relationship with Mr. O'Keefe?
That was a good relationship. Yeah.
Would you consider yourself friends?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
you hear that inflection? It's always like a question.
Pushing forward
That was a lie.
on January 28th, about what time was it, if you know, that you sort of closed up shop then?
So the shop stays open till 10. I know that I left sometime a little bit before 10. I had my wife drop me off some clothes it was like a ritual. She would, because those nights are tough for me to get out early and go home. So she dropped me off some clothes, and I remember just changing quick, washing up a little bit, and then leaving. So I think I left before the store actually closed a few minutes.
Now, during the time or prior to you leaving the pizza shop, what, if any, conversation via text did you have with Mr. O'Keefe?
He asked where I was. I said I was still working. And he said something like, why don't you talk to the boss, see if you can get out of there? And I just said, I'm married to this place. It's tough. I'll text you when I leave. And then I shot him a text, I think, when I got down to Waterfall, and I said, where are you? And go ahead. Sorry.
And where did he say that you were?
He was at CF McCarthy's.
Are you familiar with both of those establishments as far as CF McCarthy's and Waterfall?
Yes, I am.
And
So his
with regard
farm
to
shop is in
your
between
pizza
there.
shop, where
His
is
park
CF
shop is
McCarthy's
right next
location?
door to
Where is
CF
Waterfall?
McCarthy's.
So if I was sitting at my front door looking out, CF McCarthy's would be to my right, and Waterfall would be down the street, diagonal, maybe like
God, who's going to go to
200
his
yards
place when
on the
it's got
opposite
two
side of
nice
the street.
places on each side?
So both sort of walking
That'd be
distance
mean.
from where you work?
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
Especially
your
if they
home on
read the
Maple,
health
Where
reports.
is that in relation to those businesses on Washington Street, including your own?
I have a question for you guys. This was something that when I was watching the trial, I wrote notes. I found my notes today. I'm questioning that. I think Chris was in on them wanting to get John to come to the bar. And I personally, I don't think Brian Albert Jr. was ever going to go to the bar that night.
Nope.
No.
I think that was an excuse that he said, oh yeah, it's my nephew's birthday. We're all going out. But I don't think that kid was ever coming to that bar. I think he was always going to meet his friends and have a party at the house because he's somewhat of an introvert and he doesn't really love going out to bars.
And he has anxiety.
So Sherry D writes lies. So I really think that Brian and Chris planned this, that, hey, you invite him instead of me because I don't hang with them as much. You see him more than I do. You've been living, they had just recently moved to that new condo. They had been living next door to John for many years, to that house where John's sister and brother lived, or no, that's the house John bought right after his sister passed. Did he sell? Yeah. So they'd been living.
He was living in Braintree.
Right. So he was his neighbor for quite a while before they decided to move. 6 months prior to John's passing, Chris Albert, Julie Albert, and their kids all moved closer to the pizza shop. So he knew John a little bit better than from what we know and what we've understood than Brian did. Even though they worked for Boston Police, John and Brian really didn't work together, right? So
the thing with Chris, though, he did not disclose that there were issues with Colin and John. He said, oh yeah, we were neighbors, and
not
he did
yet.
not disclose the beer can issues. He did not disclose.
Well, he's not going to disclose anything unless Lely asks him, right? He's not going to give that up. So you'll hear about that obviously when Anothy takes over, but So I really think that Brian said, hey, I need to talk to John. I got some business with John and I don't know if he'll come if I invite him. So maybe you can invite him. Maybe you can get him to come and meet us at the waterfall. Tell him we're having a birthday party. Now, again, this is only my opinion. This is all speculation, but that's just how I saw it. And that's what I wrote down in my notes when I was watching the trial. Anybody else have any comments up till now?
I definitely, it's definitely suspicious to me that this was, Julie said they'd only hung out with them a couple of times at the bar. Well, when we get to her testimony, but all of a sudden out of nowhere, John asks them, where are you at? What are you doing? It's really out of a norm.
Yeah,
it wasn't normal that they were hanging out together as couples in a group.
No, they did not hang together that much. And Sherry D writes up here, I do not think they meant for John to pass, but I do think they set him up to get him to 34. I absolutely have always thought that, guys. This comes from just my background. I have always thought that they were Brian Albert or Higgins or Chris were mad at him for some reason. And there's a couple obvious options. When we get to more of the testimony later, that we do know for a fact that John was upset about the kids dealing drugs in the area. I don't remember or recall they ever told us what it was they were dealing, whether it was marijuana, which it is what it is. To me, it's not that big a deal, but it is illegal still in Massachusetts. You can't sell marijuana, I don't believe, right? So Massachusetts people, I need you to remind me, because I don't remember which state it's legal to now possess marijuana and where it's not.
It's legal in Mass.
Okay, but even so,
John, but it's not. I don't think it's legal to sell it unless you're a distributor or you have that license. You still have to. You can't be like a dealer on the street.
Right. Exactly.
They have dispensers.
John had made reports to
Right.
the chief, the chief of police and the detective.
He did not make it to the chief of police. He made a phone call in. The dispatcher took the phone call. And as soon as the phone call came in, Kevin Albert was there and said, I'll take this case.
Oh, that's right. Yep, it was. Yeah, of course. Which is a conflict of interest because he's complaining about his own nephew. So that should have never happened.
And when we get further into Chris's testimony, one of the things that he says John asked him makes me really, it struck me like a ton of bricks.
Right. And
So
Julie just said exactly, and it's in Brian Albert's history to go overboard and assault his brother officers, which he has done in the past. That's not we're not slandering him. We're just simply repeating facts of the fact.
Eddie Rodriguez. Yep.
Yes, he has been in multiple altercations with his coworkers, and he has a hot temper. So there's all those things. So okay, let's keep going for now.
Wait, one quick thing I want to say.
Yes.
I don't believe that he said when John came in with his nephew to get a slice or two or whatever, that my nephew's having a birthday, we should get together. I don't believe those words came out of his mouth about the nephew. Like, why would that entice him? He doesn't know the nephew. He doesn't know, like, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know if they're trying to reiterate that he was welcome and he was invited. Was this part of their plot? But that little bit of information to me rings completely false.
They could have been having a little get together because of the officer that had died, and they just came back from his memorial service. And
I personally think
but he could have said that, and I might have believed that, but I don't believe in that pizza shop that day. He was like, "Hey, yeah, it's my nephew's birthday. Maybe you can meet up with us." Like, I don't.
I think he asked John what he was doing, and John said, "I'm meeting these guys over here, and Karen's coming down, and so I'm going to see up McCarthy's." I think that's what happened.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
He didn't know Karen was coming yet at that point, though, I don't think, because that was at approximately 1 o'clock or whenever they went to get pizza.
He says, I'm meeting the guys over here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a very casual, yep, I'm going out for a while. The guys and I are going to go here. And then Chris, well, why don't you, I'll text you later. I'll see where you are. Yeah, I don't think so either. So Sherry D says, Chris and the pizza story from earlier that day on 128, he wasn't honest about his text to John. Granted, Chris wasn't aware. The defense knew about the text messages that FBI turned over. And can you just tell us, Shauna D, what was it that he wasn't honest about? Just so I have a little more context.
Sherry D.
Yeah, Sherry D.
Sherry, not Shauna.
Shauna's not here right now.
Oh, did I say Shauna? I meant Sherry D. I'm sorry, Sherry D.
You said Shauna D.
Shauna's usually here.
Yeah,
Shauna's
she is.
Usually here.
She is. Yeah, thank you. I said Sherry D a couple times and then I grouped it all together. Okay, so we'll just go back and we can come back to that when we stop here in a minute.
So Maple Street is like probably from my pizza shop is maybe like a 5-minute walk.
That's
it's not far. And a little closer to Waterfall. So
it's an 8
maybe
to
it's like a
10 minute
7-minute walk from Deanie and like a 5-minute walk from Waterfall.
And are there any sort of, in the area where you live, is there any sort of like town buildings or anything like that?
Yeah, so I kind of live behind the library. Like you take a left on Maple and the library is like 2 buildings after me on the left-hand side. And then the town hall is a little further down on the right.
And the library that's around where you live, is that the only public library?
That's the, besides what's inside schools, yeah, that's the only public library.
And so, again, I'm sorry, but what time is it that you leave D&E to go to Waterfall?
Just before 10, maybe like 9:50-ish.
And as far as meeting up with people, who is it that directs you to go to Waterfall specifically?
I think my wife said, are you coming down? Are you there? She was down there. So I had a conversation with her. I think that's how I headed down there.
No, this doesn't seem honest.
Yeah, she was down there.
Nope. Lie.
And you've been to the
I
waterfall
can just tell
before?
it.
Yes.
And so when you walk into the waterfall, where did you go as far as, who, if anyone, did you recognize when you came?
So it's pretty much when you walk in, it's just kind of like open. And my wife was there. Matt was there. Matt McCabe was there. Jen McCabe was there.
We got a
My
lie right there.
sister-in-law Nicole was there. My niece Caitlin was there. I think when I first walked in, that's who was there.
And you mentioned
pay attention when Julie testifies, because he's saying right now that Jen and Matt were there. And when Julie testifies, she said when Chris came in, it was just them. That Jen, she said she didn't say anybody else was there. So pay attention when Julie testifies.
And comparing the two in their testimony. Yep. I just don't believe what he said about Julie was the one to text him about coming down. I mean, she had to drop off clothes for him first so he could come out. And if she's dropping off clothes for him and it's 9:50 and it's getting close to close, why wouldn't he know where she is? It just doesn't ring true to me. The way he said it, the way he looked down, I'm like, I don't think it was your wife that was like begging to see you. I really don't. It might have been your brother. It might have been Brian.
Yeah.
And how do you know that?
Well, I grew up with, I didn't grow up with Jen. She's younger than me, but she's lived in Canton for a long time. My brother Brian is married to her sister, Nicole. So I've known her pretty much my whole life.
And you were testifying earlier about some of the people that you and Mr. O'Keefe sort of knew in common. Would Mrs. McCabe be one of those people?
Yes, yeah.
And when you walk in, relative to the establishment, whereabouts were those people situated?
So they were on like a table that was.
And is Brian Higgins, is that someone that you had met? You're at a bar, so you're drinking, correct?
Sure.
And what were you drinking?
Miller Lite.
Is that sort of normally what you would drink when you go out?
Yeah.
Now,
why do you need to know that, Lolly?
When you get there, it's yourself, your brother Brian, his wife, the McCabe's.
You think he's being deceitful?
Is that correct?
No, my brother Brian wasn't there yet. Okay. Yeah, it was Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, my wife, Caitlin, and Nicole.
Thank you for correcting.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry.
So at some point shortly after that, or at some points, who, if anyone else, arrives and sort of joins your table, your group?
So my brother Brian and a gentleman named Brian Higgins, they came and joined us.
So they came together?
Is Brian
that
Higgins,
what you're saying?
Someone that you had met previously?
Yeah, a few times.
And how did you know him?
This is the lie.
I don't know how I initially met him, but just seen him around. I knew that he worked as an ATF agent. I knew that he worked inside the Canton Police Department, so I think I knew him from that. So you knew
him pretty good.
Just being around.
Jerry D says he forgot Tristan, but I think Tristan went home
that's the only way I met him.
To plow or something.
And about how long after you arrived was it that they arrived?
I would probably within like 35 minutes, roughly.
And what, if anything, did you know about sort of where they had been prior to or what they had been doing earlier?
So they were in New York at a police officer's funeral. They went there for the ceremony, and the snowstorm was coming, so they decided that they were going to drive back early to beat the storm.
You mentioned, as far as going out on that particular evening, what was that in reference to?
So my nephew, Brian, it was his birthday.
And
but he wasn't there. We're celebrating his birthday, but he's
so that's
not
my
there.
older brother Brian's son, Brian.
So Brian Jr.
Brian Jr. Yeah, we call him Brian Jr. Yeah.
And was he present at the waterfall that night?
He wasn't. No, he decided that he didn't want to go out.
BJ for short.
And
no comment.
When your brother, your older brother Brian,
I'm a 12-year-old.
come in, where is it that they go sort of in relation to the group?
So they walk in and they come directly over to the table.
Now, at some point later in the evening, who, if anyone else, also joins your group or your table?
So John O'Keefe came with Karen Reed.
And how did you know Karen Reed at that time?
I met her a couple times. She also had been in the pizza shop a couple times, and driving by the street when I would come home, she would be outside One Meadows.
What about the Greek couple?
And,
when did they arrive? He didn't
speaking
mention
about
them.
Ms. Reed, do you see her in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
You just identify as to where she's seated?
She's sitting right over there between the two attorneys.
Just ask the record to reflect identification of the defendant.
Okay.
Now, prior to Mr. O'Keefe coming into the waterfall, you had mentioned some text communications with him. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what, if any, other communications did you have with Mr. O'Keefe before he got there?
I don't think nothing before I got to the waterfall.
Not before you got to the waterfall, before Mr. O'Keefe got to the waterfall.
With Mr. O'Keefe.
Yes.
Just that where was he, or where were we going? Where was he going to be?
What, if any, communication do you recall in regard to who was there or who was going to be there?
With Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think at some point he said, "Who's there?" And I said, "My brother Brian." I said, "Brian." And he said, "Your brother Brian?" I said, "Yeah, Brian and Brian Higgins are there." And he said, "Where's your brother Kevin?" And I said, I have no clue.
See, right
LOL
there.
or something.
Why would he ask that? That is
And
a big thing for me.
Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed come into the bar. Where is it that they go upon coming back?
They walked directly in, came towards our table, just a striked up conversation. I think John came over to my wife and said hello to her first, maybe, and then just kind of got with the group, started talking.
Now, fair to say Mr. O'Keefe knew your wife, Julie, as well?
Yes.
And how would you describe their relationship as far as you?
Good relationship.
And when Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant come over to the area where you and your wife is, what, if anything, did you observe the defendant?
Well, when they came over, I think they started talking. At one point, when they first came over, the defendant came in with a glass underneath her jacket. And I thought that was kind of funny, and I laughed about it and made a comment about it.
And what, if anything, did you notice sort of about the glass? What was in the glass? Anything like that?
It was just a tall, like, cylinder glass with some clear liquid in it and a lime.
And that was under a coat when she came in?
Yeah, it was like she pulled it out.
I'm not sure why they have to do that. Like they're all purposely interjecting that about the glass.
Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed came in?
So I got there close to 10, I would say 10:45.
Because they're trying to make it like she drank a lot.
To the best of my recollection.
They're trying to go heavy on the drunk driving thing.
And following sort of the blows and all that kind of stuff, as far as after they first came in,
if she's nursing that one drink and taking it with her, I think it does the opposite.
The defendant sat down, and I think well, John went to the bar and got a beer.
And you know, is that sort of what John would typically drink?
Yeah, Bud Light, I think.
That's important.
So he knows the drink that he drinks, but they're not,
you know, that the defendant sat down. Where does she sit down in relation to you and your wife?
I think right next to.
Oh, that's sniffing?
Next to my wife.
That might be
now with regard
related to the D&E front.
How would you describe
allegedly
sort of the general sort of tone or demeanor within the group at the waterfall that night?
It was fine. Everyone was just having a good time.
So no arguments, anything like
No,
that?
not at all.
Pause.
Oh, pause.
Pause.
Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant.
Pause. Right there is a lie.
100.
Because we have the video footage with him stopping Higgins, grabbing his arm, Higgins yelling at John, and after JFK and James went down there, that's a bold-faced lie.
You can see him on camera holding the guy's arm down, trying to calm Higgins down. And they said nobody had any issues. So even if it wasn't towards John or any other reason, Why
He
did
just
he?
testified.
Yeah, he just lied. That was a
Not
perjury
at
right there.
all. Not
So the lie,
at all.
if you ladies want to write this down, I'm going to write it down. The lie is at 35:35. So when we see that footage, then we can. So that's where the lie is at 35:35.
Not at all.
All right. So we got that written down. Okay. Thank you. Great job.
If anything, did you observe between them?
I didn't notice anything abnormal.
Now, if you recall, what was Mr. O'Keefe wearing on that evening?
Blue jeans, baseball hat, and kind of like a pullover light sweatshirt type of grayish garment. I don't know what you would call it. It wasn't like a hoodie, and it's like a long sleeve shirt.
It was a
Is that
hoodie
what he was
baseball
wearing when he
shirt.
walked in?
Yes.
At any point in time, did you see him with like a jacket or anything like that?
No.
Now, as far as your observations of Mr. O'Keefe, what, if anything, did you observe about that clothing as far as any tears or any dishevelment of it at all?
No, I didn't notice anything. It looked fine to me.
And as far as Mr. O'Keefe, his person himself, what, if anything, did you observe as far as any injuries or anything like that? When you saw him?
Didn't see anything. Looked normal.
Why
Now,
did he
after
just
Mr.
scratch
O'Keefe
his
went
face?
to the bar and got a beer, do you know where he went from there?
Just came back over to the table, started chatting people up.
And when you say the table, was that sort of your area or was there a different area that he was?
No, the same table, the same high top. Some people sitting, some people standing.
And as far as sort of this length that you described, about 6 feet or so of that table, if you recall, sort of where were people situated around the
That's
table?
not true either.
I mean, I was sitting at one point because I was eating, so I was sitting in one seat.
John
My
went
wife
over
was
to
sitting
the
in another
bar
seat. Matt and Jen
and
was
was standing
sitting
at
in
the
another
bar.
seat. I recall John standing a lot. I don't think he sat at all. I think Karen was sitting at one point, probably like situated near, maybe across from my wife or next to my wife.
Now, as far as Mr. O'Keefe was concerned, do you recall anything specific that you discussed or talked about while you were there that night?
No, nothing in particular.
And throughout sort of the course of the time that you were there, what, if any, discussion was there as to going someplace or wanting to go someplace after the waterfall?
So we have this like little ritual that when one of my nieces or nephews turn 21, we go back to the pizza shop, like, you know, after hours and turn on the oven and make pizzas and stuff. And there was talk about going back there. Miss Reed asked if we could go back and make pizzas up at my pizza shop a couple times. And then there was some talk about maybe after someone mentioned going back to my brother's house after.
But how would Karen know that if he didn't bring that up?
My brother Brian.
Yep.
And where did
So yeah, so this was always interesting to me. I think every one of them testified and they were hammering this home. Karen wanted to go to the pizza shop. Karen wanted to go to the pizza shop. I'm not jiving with that because Karen had a stomach ache and she wanted to go home. So I'm really confused by that one. If she was asking to go to the pizza shop, could it be that she was worried that if they went back to the house that there could be trouble? That where if they stay at the pizza shop, it's a public place, it's on the public street.
Good point.
I was leaning towards that all along. I don't think Karen wanted pizza. I don't think she was hungry. She had stomach issues. She had severe stomach issues. I don't even know how often she ate pizza. If I could talk to her right now, I'd ask her if she even eats pizza because pizza is a trigger for a lot of people with IBS and stomach problems.
Mhm.
So I always thought that if she did, they all said she kept bringing it up. My guess is that she was worried that something was going to go wrong at that house because I'm pretty sure her and John talked a lot and that whatever was the deal, whatever they were angry at him about, that they wanted to talk to him that night. I think she knew there was issues going on. And that's
When
just
they-
my,
She just had
when
that
they pu-
gut feeling like something
When
wasn't
they
right.
pull up the video, though, he lied because John didn't come over and stand at the table. John immediately went over to the side of the bar after he greeted, I don't even know did he say hi to Brian? He hugged somebody and then he went over to the side of the bar. He was not standing at their table. That's not true.
I have a
At
different
least not the
theory.
footage we.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Deirdre. I just want to quick say thank you for coming tonight, good citizen. It's always great to have a new person join us. I think you might have been here last week, but I see you live in Norfolk County, so you definitely are following this closely. And this is much more impactful to you because this is if this was happening in my state, I would be even more like upset about it, because when it's in your own backyard, when it's your people, you feel a different emotion than when you're removed by it, right, by a couple states. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate all your comments. Go ahead, Deirdre.
I think this thing about going back to the pizza place was their effort to separate Karen from John, because remember, they were trying to get her to do that.
Yeah.
And I think,
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Deirdre. That's right.
She ultimately said no, so that was aborted. But I think that was their plan, was to have the girls go over and make pizza and the guys go over and do what they were going to do to John. But they needed to make Karen's idea. They needed to make it Karen's idea, because otherwise then it looks suspicious that they were separating her from John.
Yeah, I'm saying why the heck would she say, may I go to the pizza shop and make pizzas at your pizza shop, if it wasn't brought up that this is a tradition we do for every birthday we go to the pizza shop? Somebody had to tell her that.
Right.
And here's the other thing.
Knowing that, yeah.
Here's the other thing. Did anybody ever look at the menu at the waterfall to see if they served pizza?
Well, the reason to go to the pizza shop is because he probably wasn't going to charge anybody. You know, it was going to be an after bar party.
She doesn't care about money.
No, we know that. But
at this point, she doesn't care about money.
Right. I know that. But their point of going to the pizza shop is to not have to pay the bar for food, because they can go to the pizza shop and use.
But there's no beer or alcohol there. So why would they go there for an after bar party?
They serve beer and alcohol.
No, it's a made-up story.
Not at his restaurant. They don't.
He had some privately, because he testified to like drinking a beer at the shop. I think before he went.
Then I'm wrong.
He had, even if it wasn't being sold, it was his own. He did have alcohol or booze or beer or something at his shop.
I just agree. I agree with Deirdre. I think it was all over.
But would she really want mediocre parm or mediocre pizza?
Well, here's the thing, too.
That's why it didn't work.
The guys testified that they were on that special diet, so they wouldn't have gone to eat pizza anyway. Only the chicks would go and do that. And then the guys go to 34 Fairview.
Yeah.
But even that made no sense, Deirdre, because Chris Albert here testified that he was on this diet competition, but then he's eating like chicken fingers and potato skins or something at the waterfall.
And drinking beer.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it's like
maybe that was the reason why they wouldn't go and get pizza. They could have used that excuse and said, "Oh, the girls went because we were all on a diet."
Right,
Deirdre, you're onto something. You're giving me the best explanation I have heard on YouTube ever. Like this entire time, I could not put the pieces together. This is the first time the pieces have come together for this. Wow, thank you, Deirdre.
All right, we're going back in.
Does your brother Brian live there?
34 Fairview.
You familiar with that address?
Yeah, I used to live there. I grew up there.
So prior to it being your brother Brian's house, was that your parents' house?
Getting
my parents' house.
now.
Yeah.
So that's where you and your siblings essentially grew up from the time that you moved to Canton?
Yes.
Now, as far as going over to your pizza shop to make pizzas, things like that, is that something that the defendant talked about once or more than once?
A few times.
And you referenced sort of this ritual when one of your nieces or nephews turned 21, and it was your nephew Brian Jr.'s birthday the following day. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Was he turning 21 at that point?
I think so. I can't remember exactly if he was 20 or 21. I think he was turning 21 though.
So in relation to this evening of January 28th,
that's a lie.
The ritual that you were talking about, when was the last time before January 28th?
I think it was 22 or 23.
Yeah, because he's 24 at the time of the court hearing.
Yeah, he was turning 23.
Trying to see who else turned 21. Can't remember exactly. I know it was recent. I remember doing it. I just can't remember the date.
And
He's
that's
like,
all.
oh shit, why are you asking
Yeah.
me these
Recent
questions
to
about my
January.
bullshit story?
Yeah, it was sometime before that, but within like a couple of months, I think someone turned 21. Maybe we just went there.
And so what, if any,
Oh, now it's
conversation
just
from
maybe.
your end as far as?
Someone
obviously
turned
it's your pizza
21.
shop. So
Yeah.
what, if any, conversation from your end was there in reference to doing that?
I turned 21.
To doing that night. So
22
we
years
were
ago.
doing a weight loss competition, me, Matt McCabe, and my brother Brian. And we had like 2 more weeks left in it. And we do it, every year, it's like a charity. We do it.
Obviously, Brian
And,
failed it.
The proceeds go to like scholarship
Oh, did I
funds.
say that out loud?
So
I'm sorry.
I said no because we were doing this weight loss challenge and I just didn't want to give in and, eat pizza 2 weeks before we were weighing in.
And you work around it all the time. You
And-
didn't have to eat it.
Your wife, Julie, how long was she at the bar for?
Not long when I got there. She probably was only there for maybe 35, 40 minutes. She had a migraine. She wanted to go home, so she left.
Okay, can you stop?
So she indicated she had a migraine.
That's where the report from Buchanan comes in. Because he reports that, I'll read the whole thing. On February 10th, 2022 at approximately 5:30 p.m., Trooper Proctor and I proceeded to 22, and then it's blanked out, in order to conduct a pre-scheduled interview of Julie and Chris Albert at their residence. Both Julie and Chris were present at the Waterfall Bar and Grill the night of January 28th, 2022, and then followed to Brian Albert's home in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022. So she did not leave with a migraine and go home.
Here's my
That's a lot.
question. Deidre, Amber, Kat, do we remember anywhere in the video footage seeing Julie leave?
I
Oh, that
don't
I
think they showed it. She left earlier.
Yeah,
Do we see it anywhere in the video footage?
I don't think they ever focused in on that, rather, when she left. I don't think for the defense, there definitely wasn't a prosecution issue. So,
Okay, but she could have moved positions and she could have been sitting somewhere else in the bar. And we wouldn't have seen her.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. So Buchanan's report is the only report that I'm aware of that says Julie and Chris followed them to the Albert residence, 34 Fairview. But I'm just playing devil's advocate when I say this, because there is nothing recorded, because the statements are not signed. I know I've seen medical reports that when I've spoken to a doctor and they've gotten things wrong. And I'll be like, that's not what I said, or that's not what I meant. And so I'm just giving them the credit there that to me isn't a smoking gun, because I don't always trust Buchanan or the way people understand something.
Here's my issue is any of the reports were not signed by the witnesses saying, this is what is true. This is what I said.
Exactly. And so how do we know if that is what they said, or if, Buchanan sucks at his job? We don't know, because there's no body cams. There's no interviews done in a police room where there's cameras. It's just such a crap investigation on purpose.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. I just wanted to get a couple chats up here because they're interacting with you guys. So I'm trying to just have them do that. Sherry D says that Chris testified he got food at Waterfall as he was starving and he didn't eat all day. So
but he works in a pizza shop.
Well, 1 minute he's saying, well, yeah, but if you work at a restaurant, I have lots of friends who've owned restaurants. You get sick of your own food. So that's not really something
I wouldn't eat there with the grade. I'm sorry. I wouldn't eat there because of the health grade. No.
Well,
the mice and all that.
I agree with Sherry D here, though, is that he's talking out of two sides of his mouth, because he doesn't want to go to his place because he doesn't want to eat pizza because he doesn't want to ruin his diet. But he was starving, and he, instead of eating good food where he could have grabbed something healthy, he ended up eating at the Waterfall. And we all know that not many bars
potato skins. Yep.
No, I think he actually testifies to like chicken fingers and potato skins or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
not
So fried
not
food,
food
and
that's good.
carbs.
Yeah, fried stuff. Yeah.
It's
I
carbs.
just want to welcome MCAT. Thanks so much for coming tonight. I can't welcome your logo because I am a Wisconsin Badger and I worked for the University of Wisconsin Police Department and I worked for the university for many years. So I am a full-on Badger MCAT and I know what that means. I know that means Iowa Hawkeyes. So we're going to have to chat about that. I'm just kidding you. I love the Big 18 because now we have 18 teams in the Big 10. Most of you that have gotten to know me know I'm a huge sports fan. So I have been to your stadium, MCAT. I have been to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, if I'm messing that up, if this is for another sports team, like maybe your high school or your kids' high school, let me know because it sure looks like an Iowa Hawkeye to me.
Paul is asking what part of Wisconsin?
Where I'm from?
It's down in the
Madison. Yeah, I'm from Madison, the capital of Wisconsin. Born and raised. Lived in Milwaukee for a while as a child, though. I lived on 53rd Street in Milwaukee for a while, for 7 years. My dad got transferred there. So I was in Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee. It's a really cool city. Lots of fun things to do.
I love Wisconsin, but
yeah, and that's how I met Kat. Was she was doing the Free Karen Reed standout, national standout in Madison, Wisconsin at the Capitol, and we met online. And I said I would love to join you. I was very excited because it was the first time I'd seen something public here in Wisconsin for the case. So yeah, we're both in Madison right now.
And I'm from
Kat's in
Illinois,
Florida, but
I'm from
yeah,
Illinois.
you're close.
And I used to be a biker and I used to ride in Wisconsin. So
oh wow, MCAT
Annette, you're gonna have to
Milwaukee. That's so cool, MCAT. We'll have to
Silver Lake was my favorite place. I love
you're not
Silver
far,
Lake.
MCAT.
No, she's in Chicago now. We may have to meet you in Milwaukee sometime, MCAT, when I'm back in May. I go back all the time. I literally just go back and forth. That's my thing now. My mother is older and yeah, I'm just back and forth constantly from Madison to Florida. So we'll get a hold of me on Twitter X. You can DM me or you're welcome to email me. I'll put up the banner with my email for you guys. First, while we're taking this short trip break, we got to move on to Julie pretty quick because I don't want to be in here. We've live streamed a lot this week and my voice is going because I'm still battling this damn COVID. So I do want to keep it moving. But while we take this break real quick, I just want to put up our Justice for Ellen Greenberg. Please follow us with Ellen Greenberg if you're interested in following true crime and you're interested in any kind of nefarious criminal activity outside of the state of Massachusetts, because we have 4 active cases that we're currently lobbying for and advocating for the families.
I got to say this because every time I look at Deirdre, I don't want you to ever take it as insult. You remind me of Betty Davis.
Betty Davis.
Yeah, maybe.
She does. And I always thought she was a gorgeous woman. You remind me so much of Betty Davis.
Well, thank
so
you.
MCAT says, I will definitely drive to Madison for standout. Let me know if there's another one. That is amazing. We're growing.
So cool. That would be so cool. But that won't be happening until it stops snowing. I'm not going to stand out in the snow. Sorry.
That's not leaving Florida.
Yeah, I'll stand out in down here in Florida for you, but I cannot do it in Wisconsin until it warms up. So we'll definitely do that. We'll get a hold of us and we will definitely do that.
Okay, we're on over an hour, so let's get back in this.
We're gonna fly back into Mr. Chris here. We're almost.
Yeah, she didn't feel well.
And was that before or after Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed arrived?
She left after they arrived. So then she must have left later than that. Yeah.
Now, later on in the evening, what, if anything, did you buy for the group?
So at one point towards the end of the night, I bought a round of fireball shots for the group.
And who partook in that, if you know?
I don't remember exactly. Probably half of the people there took them. I don't remember everyone. I wasn't paying attention.
And when you say sort of towards the end of the night, when was it that things sort of wrapped up in water?
I think they called last call right before 12. Pretty much right before 12, it all started wrapping up.
And as far as the group that you were with at the high top table, who, if anyone, from that group left first?
Why do we have to keep
So my
pointing out
wife
the
left
high
first,
top
obviously.
table?
She didn't feel well.
Who
She left
cares?
earlier. Then Brian and Brian left. My sister-in-law left.
See, they
Matt
left
and Jen
together.
left. I left
Brian and
probably
Brian left
second
together.
to last. I probably left last with John and Karen, or right around the time that John and Karen left.
And do you recall, as far as you're leaving around the same time, do you recall walking out together or seeing them outside, or where is it that you recall sort of you leaving at the same time?
My best
We're
recollection is I
holding
walked out roughly the same time, and I walked out the building, and I come up Washington to the right, and they were either shortly after or shortly before me, and they walk up to the left.
And when you say
How do you
walk
know
up
they walked to
Washington,
the
did you
left
walk
if it
home
was
that night?
Yeah, I walked
if
home.
it was after you?
And when you came out of the bar, what, if anything, did you notice sort of about the weather or what was going on with that?
It just started snowing. It was cold out, and it just started snowing. The ground had like a
It was
light
raining frogs.
coat.
Could you still sort of see the street? Or
Oh, yeah, yeah. You could still see it.
And you mentioned you walked out towards Washington, and Mr. O'Keefe and Miss Reed did as well.
Yes.
And which direction? Did you go in the same direction, different direction?
But when you come out the building, you have to go to the left in order to get onto Washington. So I come out to the left and then go to the right onto Washington, and they would go to the left onto Washington.
They were sort of walking
Opposite directions.
on Washington.
Yes.
See, he said it as if he saw them go, and now he's saying that's the way they would have gone. The congruency is not there. They went.
Now,
I
as
went
far
left. They
as,
went this way,
throughout
or they
sort of the
would
course
have
of the
gone this
evening,
way.
did you have occasion to see sort of what Mr. O'Keefe mentioned, that he went to the bar, he got a beer. Was that the only beer that you saw him having, or did he have more than one?
I'm sure he had more than one. Yeah, I saw him with more than one.
So you saw him, but essentially what I'm asking is throughout the course of the evening when you saw him drinking, other than maybe the fireball shot, you saw him just drinking beer?
Just beer.
And as far as Miss Reed was concerned, what, if anything, did you observe her drinking? Throughout the course of the evening?
Just a clear liquid in a glass. I assume it was some sort of vodka drink.
Was that the same glass that she had come into the establishment with under her coat, or was it a different glass later on?
I believe it was the same one.
Well, which helps Karen.
So you leave from the waterfall and you're walking home, is that right?
Correct.
Fair to say you didn't go to 34 Fairview that
I
night?
did not.
And about what time was it that you got home?
Sometime between, I'd say 5 past and 10 past 12, somewhere in that window.
12:10, 3 to 2.
And
Just
was your wife
enough
home at that
to
point?
She was.
be an alibi for
And
my
as far as
son.
your children were concerned, how many of your 3 sons were living with you at that time?
At that time, 2. My 16-year-old, well, he wasn't 16 years old at the time, but my 16-year-old and my 20-year-old.
And so 16 and 20 now is actually,
16 and 20 now, so that'd be like
Yep, AKA bunny kicker.
14 and 18 then, I guess.
and so your oldest son,
He was in the San Diego in the Navy.
and if you know,
I missed
did
your
you
snark.
check or anything as far as your kids when you got home, were they there, if you know?
No, I ran right upstairs. I was freezing. I went right into my room.
Essentially, you went to bed, is that correct?
Correct.
Didn't even brush his teeth, that dirty scoundrel.
Your Honor, with the court's
Or
permission.
take a shower
I'll
after you
ask
got
you,
off work all day.
Publish for the jury just to.
I went to a restaurant. There's no way you didn't
what's
shower.
been Marked as Exhibit 53, the waterfall surveillance.
Okay. We had sidebar.
Ms. Gilman, if I could.
I'm
have,
sorry if
from
when I
Channel
got
3,
off of
second
work
video now.
from working at a restaurant and waitressing, first thing I did was take a shower.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe he's-
I couldn't stand the way my hair smelled, like grease.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't have any hair. Maybe he's just a dirty,
Mr.
dirty.
Allen, looking up at the screen, do you recognize generally what's picked up on that screen?
Yeah, so those are the tables that I was speaking of that are like, there's like 2 or 3 in a row.
Are those high top
Why
tables?
is this so foggy?
Yep.
I'm sorry, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes. A lot of bars have very cheap surveillance cameras.
I don't have any.
Probably had some type of
My
like
apologies.
film over the top. It hadn't been adjusted, or that can cause like a smoky,
So
like
what I'm
almost like a
handing to
ghost.
you is a laser pointer, basically just click that button and point it up.
Okay.
I don't trust anything we got
Mr.
from
Albert, Using that laser pointer
prosecution,
that I just
so.
handed to you, if you could direct the jury's attention to about where the high top
And
is,
this
and then
looks
about
so
where
much
you would
bigger
stand at that high top.
than it does when
So here's
James
the high top.
and
And
JFK were there.
It
I
looks
can't really
tiny
see
when
myself,
you
to be honest with you,
put it
this
in
far away.
context.
But somewhere, I think I ate on this side here,
And as far as the bar is concerned, where would that be?
back here. Wait. Oh, so this is from walking into the waterfall. Okay, so the bar is after. So that's the high top next to the bar. The bar's back there.
And as far as the band that you were talking about that was playing, if you could direct the jury's attention where that was.
On this side over
The
here.
band's name is
Kind of fuzzy, but
LSD,
that's it.
Lakeshore Drive.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could ask you to fast forward to
Nobody ever asked
10:54.
that. Because they didn't want them in court.
And, I would ask if you could play that from 10:54 to about 10:56.
Karen now has the name of the band, so hopefully they bring them in.
I'm sorry, if you could just pause briefly, Ms. Gilman. Now, Mr. Alba, looking up at the
Your
screen,
Microdots
as
video
far as
is
the door that
great.
you came out and the door that you eventually exited from the waterfall, do you see
Microdots
sort of that
is
general
awesome.
area and where that is in the video?
No, because I think it's offline here. I think it would be over here.
So it would be off sort of towards the left, is that?
Yeah, like down this way.
Ms. Gilman, if you could press play.
Oh yeah, no wonder Julie had a headache and a migraine with the band in that small space.
As far as two individuals sort of walking in, do you recognize who those individuals are?
I do. That's John O'Keefe and Miss Reed.
Okay, let's watch this
Ms.
close.
Gilman, if you could just run it through 10:56.
All right, goes right up to Higgy. That's Higgy, right?
Yeah, he went to Higgy first, and then he walked away. He did not stand at that frickin' table.
Yeah, yeah. Giving hugs.
Another hug.
Why has nobody spoken about the Greeks? Didn't the Greeks come with the McCabe's?
Yeah, they were there.
They don't want to speak of them because they actually
want to
believe in
discredit
Karen's
them.
innocence. Right.
They want to discredit them.
What does Brian Albert's puffy jacket mean?
I'll tell you what it means. One of the EMS people, when they testified on the stand, said that they took a puffy jacket off of John.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The Kellner said there was
No,
a
no,
puffy jacket. Nobody else says it
Maybe
was a
Nutter
jacket.
or something. Nutter.
Kellner or Nettle. That's his name. Nettle.
So this is very interesting observation, Sherry D, because if John left his coat in the car and he did not have a coat, if he did pass away in the house and they did move him to the side of the road, I don't think they would be that naive or stupid to put a coat on John that didn't belong to John.
Oh no, because it
I
would have
think Timmy
DNA
just-
on it.
But it is very
just-
bizarre. It is very bizarre that EMT remembered or thought that he took a puffy jacket off of John. So that was an interesting observation, Sherry D.
Do you know what I think about Timmy's? Honestly, I felt he was trying to be honest, but I think he was mixing up memories. Kat, you've known I've done that.
Yep.
I said, so-and-so
Mhm.
said this about me, and I had the two
Yep.
things mixed up. And you're like, no, it wasn't that person. It was the other person. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah, you're right. Somehow our memories sometimes blend. And I really feel like Timmy got another case mixed up with John. Like his memory.
Yeah,
put in
he could have.
pieces
I mean, they have a lot of calls in any given week. So yeah, that's a good point,
Right.
Amber. But I just wanted to Sherry put up because I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, there would be flying feathers all over the place if they had.
Well, he said you wouldn't cut off a puffy coat because of the feathers and stuff. That would
Oh,
be the
that's
one
right.
piece of clothing you would not cut off.
Yeah, that's
But he
right.
did look genuinely mortified that he had made a mistake.
Right.
I think it
right.
was just a mismemory, and it's the way our memory works. I think he was trying, to be honest. I really do. I just think his memory was shaped.
Yeah.
I think most of the firefighters that were, they all did their best to recall. I mean, they have so many calls, and this trial happened 2 years later. So it's a lot to expect of all of them with all the calls that they go on to remember details, super, super close details. I thought overall they all did a pretty good job testifying, the paramedics and the firefighters. Katie was the only one I had a real issue with. And then of course, what was his name? We never showed his testimony, but
Flematti.
Yeah, Flematti. Yep.
Oh, MCAT says I work for fire department and calls do run together. But the MCAT saying this one should stand out. Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Probably. Okay, back we go. We should be almost done with prosecution. I don't really think he has much more to cover.
And essentially, you came in, went to bed. So do you know what time your son came home that night?
I know that.
Do you know? Just answer yes or no whether you know.
Yes,
And how do you know that?
because he opened the bedroom door and said, "Good night, guys. I love you. I'm home."
And about how long after you got home was it that your son came home?
I'd say within 10 minutes.
And as far as sort of coming into your room, is that something that was required of your kids when they came home?
He would always do that. Yeah, that was something just to let us know that they were home.
Weird that he
Now,
did
turning your
not.
attention to the next day on the 29th, about obviously at some point you woke up. Do you recall about what time that was?
8-ish, 8:30-ish.
So sometime between 8 and 8:30.
Yeah. I was still in bed. I woke up, but I didn't leave my room.
And what was it that, or who was it that woke you up that morning?
At that time, I just woke up on my own.
And when you woke up, what happened after you woke up?
Shortly after I woke up, my wife entered the room, but that was a little bit later. I don't know exactly what time. And she informed me that something had happened to John.
And what was it that you told?
I don't know the exact words that she said, but basically that John had died.
And what, if anything, did she indicate to you as to where John had died?
That he was found somewhere on the front lawn of 34 Fairview.
And
She said 34 Fairview?
following
No,
receiving
that's
the
not what she would say.
information,
She would say your brother's
where did you
house.
go, or where did you and your wife?
I
Correct.
was in shock. I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean?" And then I jumped up, and she's like, "Let's we have to go over. Let's go over to your brother's house."
Wait a minute.
And,
Stop.
Wait a
the-
minute,
Stop
pause,
the presses. Stop.
Oh my God, that was a huge lie. That was a huge lie.
Stop.
Isn't she the
Sometime
donut deliverer?
Scratching my
approximately
knee.
like after 9 o'clock.
You
I don't
all
remember
That is a
exactly what
huge
time
lie.
we went over there. Maybe 9 or 9:30.
He's saying they
That's
went there
a
together,
huge
but
lie.
Julie said she got the stupid donuts and went to drop them off with the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
What, did she go back home and then picked him up and go back again? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, because they do all this driving back and forth in a blizzard.
I don't understand. And who gets donuts and then, Brian Albert
What
said
is that
coffee
timestamp?
and put it
Kat?
in a cold car?
Kat, what was
Sorry.
the timestamp on this? Oh, she may have stepped away.
Who's a cop's son and leaves their car unlocked?
Well, we
Oh,
all know
right.
that his car wasn't there. But
I mean, to put the
It just
donuts in
doesn't
the
make any.
coffee
Yeah.
cold and
Kat, are you back on?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just stretching my knee.
Okay. What is the timestamp? Because this is a huge lie.
Okay, hang on a second. Timestamp is at 53:49.
Sherry D says Julie testified she woke at 8, arrived at 34 Fairview between 8:30 and 9. So they went together. Lies.
And
Or
he just
they just
said John was dead, and he said 34 Fairview, which isn't true. He would have said John was found dead on your brother's lawn, which wasn't true either, because they
This
had
is all a
declared him
lie.
dead.
Right. He wasn't declared deceased at that point. So how did she even know he was deceased at like 8:00 in the morning? Right. What time? I have to look that up. What time John was actually declared deceased? But I thought it was later.
No, I don't think so. I think it was before 8:00.
It was like 6 something.
No,
No,
yeah.
7. They left
Oh,
there
okay.
at 6 something. But how would she know that?
Well, and Julie never said anything about coffee either. I caught that, Amber, when I was doing my laps in my living room for my knee. That was Brian Elbert
Right.
that said that Julie brought coffee. She never said boo about coffee, which she would have, because she would have obviously remembered if she brought a big container of coffee with her from Dunkin' Donuts. She only talked about the donuts. So it'll be interesting when we get to her. We may have to push her to next week. This is what I wanted to offer to the group, is that Nicole, I checked out Nicole's testimony today. It's not very long. So we could push Julie. We could do Julie and Nicole next week together and continue with Chris. Or what we could do is we could do Julie with Lally too, and then just push Chris and Julie with Yannetti to next week. What do you guys?
Let's just do Chris and get through.
Yeah,
him.
let's finish Chris.
Let's get through Chris. Okay, sounds good.
Okay, but hold on. I was going to say people don't really love seeing Lally, but I do think it's important, at least if we do it at like 1.25 speed, because look at all these little nuggets that we caught that we had not caught before because we probably were so bored or we couldn't put all the pieces together. But I just looked it up, and John O'Keefe was pronounced dead at 7:50 a.m. So I was incorrect.
So then how did she know?
But she told him at like 8 something.
How did she know immediately?
She wouldn't have. She didn't. Well,
she wouldn't have known.
She didn't get there. She didn't get over there and to find out when she left the donuts. I remember this from the original trial watching when I took notes on him, and then when her turn came up, they weren't meshing together on the timeline in the morning. So we'll definitely keep track of what he's saying, and then when we get to her next week, there'll definitely be some inconsistencies.
And
it takes
when you
time.
arrived at your brother's house.
Go ahead, Deirdre.
It takes time after somebody's pronounced to get the family assembled in a room and make the pronouncement to them. The time of death pronouncement is what's said in the room. It's not what's said. It's not the time that the family's notified.
Mm-hmm.
And the family was, until, if I recall correctly, according to Paul's testimony, they called him in and said he's gone. So Paul's testimony, we have to look at that when we get there and see what time, if he gives it. I don't remember if he gives it, but we have to.
Sorry, Annette, we have I want to say hi to Clerk Jim Clown. Welcome to our chat tonight. Welcome to the live stream. We appreciate having you. Good to have you. I love your comment. Who's ready to see Lally on the stand? Sherry
Hi,
D.
Clerk Jim Clown.
Sorry about that, Annette. Go ahead and finish.
Yeah, so we have to go through. I don't remember the timeline when Paul was testifying about what time they were told that John was passed, but this is not lining up. This was huge.
But they went to look at the body, the family. So do you think the family's calling everybody and their brother at that moment? No, they're being told about the death.
No,
Well,
No, so
they're
that
not
doesn't
going to
make
call
sense.
Julie Albert.
Were there any McAlberts at the hospital?
No, the only one there was Carrie Roberts.
Carrie, but Jen McCabe didn't have her number then.
Nope.
So how would Julie know to say that? I don't think Carrie Roberts would have called Julie. I think Jen McCabe would have called Julie, but Jen McCabe, I don't believe, was aware of him being declared that early at 8:00 in the morning, not 10 minutes
Well,
after
when
he
we
was
go over
officially
Julie's,
declared.
you'll learn some of this though in Julie's testimony, because Anothy grills her on what time she got a phone call from 34 from somebody at 34 Fairview, from Brian and Nicole Albert. So that'll all come out next week when we go over
Okay.
Julie. So I'm going to
Okay.
pop back into the
So
room.
we caught another lie.
Who, if anyone, was there?
To the best of my recollection, excuse me. From what I remember, I was there. My wife was there. My brother Brian, Nicole, Brian Higgins was there. I believe Matt McCabe was there and Jen McCabe was there.
When you came into the home, sort of where were they in relation?
Just sitting at the kitchen table.
And if you know, about how long did you stay at your brother's house when you came over?
Maybe an hour.
And where did you go from there?
Afterwards, just home.
Now, as far as subsequent to
Correct
this,
me
at
if
some
I'm wrong.
points,
He said they got
within
there at
the
9:30.
days that followed, did you have occasion to speak with?
Hang on, I'm going to back that up. I was talking to
Yeah.
Zeus. Oh, by the way, Julie always asks me for a Zeus possum update. The possum is definitely alive. He made it through his last Friday Night Lies episode of being carried into my house in Zeus's mouth. I saw him in the pine tree, but Zeus has not encountered him again. So Zeus has, I think he learned his lesson. Thank you all for being concerned about him. Oh, he's going to talk to
Look,
you guys.
he's commenting. Do you want to
He's
hear something
commenting.
funny? I said to Kat, I'm like, well, that possum needs to find a new home. And she's like, well, he was here before us.
He was. I'm not. It's a her, by the way, because she had
Oh my
babies.
God, Kat.
So guys,
It was cute.
Yes, Teacher.
Chris and Julie had the donut excuse for going over to 34 Fairview.
Mm-hmm.
But what was Jen and Matt's excuse, and what was Brian Higgins' excuse for them to all just coincidentally be in the same place at the same time?
They were summoned.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
why were they summoned?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, that we can talk about all that as we go through later, because that'll come up with Julie, and when we go through all the testimony of the rest of the family. That I can guarantee you that was a family meeting, if you get my drift.
And
Okay.
all the more highlighted by the lie about the coffee and the donuts. Like,
yeah,
that just draws attention to the fact that you're lying.
I initially thought that Julie was supposed to drive up with donuts and say, "Oh, he's on the front lawn."
Karen wasn't
That was
supposed to discover him that early.
Nope.
It's very
and that's
possible.
why Jen McCabe said we need to go back to the house and look and see if he's there.
Good.
There's
It
too
was
much
Jen
time in
with
between.
Karen? No, she
Yes.
was not. Jen McCabe was not with Karen, because remember, Karen was taken in for a psych eval, and Jen McCabe was calling her while she was in the ambulance.
I'm saying when Karen called Jen said, "Come over here," and instead of going to 34 Fairview, Jen said, "Let's go back to the house and see if he's there."
Right.
And you just didn't see him.
But
They
what
were
is good
stalling.
as citizen meaning? What is good as citizen saying when they're saying Jen McCabe was there with Karen? Are you talking about the hospital good as citizen?
Jen
She
McCabe
was not there,
there.
right? No,
She was
because
not
Karen got
there.
taken in the paddy wagon, and she got and I remembered that Jen McCabe was calling her trying to get Carrie's number. There was testimony about that. Whoever was in the ambulance with Karen.
Good citizen is putting in the chat 6:05. That at 6:05, Karen and Jen were still together, because Karen had to once they decided they were going to section her and put her in the hospital, that happened after 6:05, right, good citizen? Then she was put in the SUV with Carrie, and Carrie drove her to the hospital.
Carrie and her, they called to bring her back.
Left together to go get John's parents, and then her father called and said, "We want her section." So Carrie brought her back.
Well, let's get down this rabbit hole when we do Carrie and Jen, because we got to get back to Chris, guys, because we will be here till 3 in the morning. It's okay. I got to direct.
Troopers are members of the state police.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And how many troopers from the state police did you talk to when you spoke?
2
And where was that?
at my condo.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions. Your Honor.
Okay, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Albert, you and I have never met, correct?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, he wouldn't caught dead in his pizza shop.
You've essentially lived in Canton your whole life, correct?
Correct.
Moved there when you were 4 years old?
Correct.
And the house
He looks
to
annoyed.
which you and your family moved was 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
You lived there for how long?
Correct, Sherry D.
33 years?
And you currently own D&E Pizza in Canton?
Correct.
I believe you testified that you've owned it for approximately 25 years?
Correct.
Clearly, you have a lot of ties to the city of Canton. Would you agree?
Sure.
You live there?
Hate that answer.
Yes.
You work there?
Yes.
You have family there?
Yep.
You raised your kids there?
Yep.
I hate yup and sure
you
as
also
an
are
answer.
a town selectman in the city of Canton. Or
There we
recently
go.
elected.
the town of Canton, I should say.
I
It's a
was
town,
city
correct.
elected.
And not only that, but your brother, Kevin Albert, is a police officer in Canton?
He is.
Your brother, Brian Albert, with whom you grew up, is currently retired, but had been a Boston police officer who lived in Canton, correct?
Correct.
You would agree with me that Brian Albert only moved from Canton after John O'Keefe was found dead on his front lawn, correct?
Can you rephrase that?
I'll phrase it the exact same
It's
way.
not
and ask
very
for a yes or
difficult
no
to
if you
answer.
do that.
Gennady said,
You would
I'll
agree
rephrase
with
it the
me
exact same way.
That your
Thank
brother
you,
Brian
sir.
Albert only moved from Canton after John O'Keefe was found dead on his front lawn.
Objection.
Can you answer that? Can you answer that?
Yeah, I just don't
I'll give you
understand the
that,
phrase, but he moved.
Bev,
He moved shortly after
Just
that.
say
Yes.
sustained.
Your brother
Don't make
Tim
it like
Albert,
diminish it.
lives with your parents in Canton, correct?
No, say overruled.
Correct.
And Tim Albert and your parents live
Oh, yeah.
directly across the street from the Canton Police Department, correct?
Correct.
Zeus
Do
agrees.
you know whom they bought that house from?
Objection.
The objection sustained.
Relevance.
But you still live in Canton
Correct.
with your wife, Julie Albert,
Correct.
and your son, Colin Albert, correct?
Along with my other 2 sons. Yes.
And you would agree that your entire family has deep roots in the town of Canton?
I guess.
You would agree with me that the Albert
wanna
family
say
is
that.
well known in the town of Canton?
We have a big family.
And you would agree with me that the Albert family is a powerful family in the town of Canton?
Objection.
Sustained.
As a town selectman, you
What is
have
wrong with that
some
question?
power, do you not?
I'm one of
Good
5
job, Andy.
selectmen.
Oh,
And
you're
as a
That wasn't
police
the
detective,
answer. That
Kevin
wasn't,
Albert
you didn't
has
answer the
some power, does he
question.
not?
Objection.
Sustained.
And
Why
you
was
also
that
have
sustained?
close friends on the Canton Police Department, do you not?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I have some.
Now,
So-
you know that Massachusetts State Police
Who are
Trooper
they?
Michael Proctor is the lead investigator
Why didn't
on this
Anothy
case,
ask
correct?
who are they?
I know that.
One of your wife's best friends is Michael Proctor's sister, Courtney Proctor, correct?
Objection. Okay, that's sustained. You've got another witness you can ask that of, Mr. Anothy.
You know
Why-
Courtney
why-
Proctor, correct?
Objection. Allowed.
Yes,
And you know her to be Michael Proctor's sister, correct?
that's correct.
You attended Michael Proctor's sister's wedding, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach? Sure. Why don't you come on over?
Oh God, don't let Lally out of this with sidebar. Like Unetti's asking legitimate, good questions.
He is.
I do not understand all these objections. They're,
Yeah.
and it would really
Well,
help if we could
here's the-
ground the objection.
This is a great example of how the judge is already trying to protect, because as you said, Amber, she says, can you answer that? Okay, the judge I've never heard a judge do that when there's an
Nope.
objection, to look at the person and say, can you answer that? It's either sustained or overruled. She does this throughout the whole trial, and she started on, early on from day one. We saw that last week with Katie's testimony. She was already doing it. So it's very bizarre behavior. It's not judge-like. It just is very.
It's
strict.
diminishing of the defense, because
Mhm.
the way she's saying it is as if like, well, I guess I'll allow it, or
Mhm.
can you answer that? She shouldn't be getting involved. She shouldn't be using
Mhm.
inflection or the way she is interjecting herself to influence how the witnesses testify. And she is in a very slight
Right.
way, but it is.
I'm going to
That's
go
what-
back just a second. I'd really like to hear that again. I don't remember this from when I watched it the first time. I don't know if any of you caught this, but she doesn't like Unetti's question for some reason. So she doesn't want Chris Elbert to answer it. And then she says, you can ask that of another witness. Well, what Unetti wants to ask Chris. You don't get to, you shouldn't, it should be, I don't get this at all. So
It's
let's
about
go
the
back.
connection with Proctor.
Mhm. I
Is
know.
your
and
wife
that's-
friends with Proctor's sister?
Right.
And why can't he answer that? They're saying that they have to ask Julie that. He could just say, I
His
don't
son
know.
was in the
Yes
wedding.
or no.
Yeah,
His
that's
son
what I
was
wanted
in the
to listen
wedding.
to it real quick one more
If
time.
somebody
just
asked
because-
me who was my husband's friends, I could answer that question.
Mhm.
You would agree with me that the Albert family is well known in the town of Ken.
We have a big family.
And you would agree with me that the Albert family is a powerful family in the town of Ken.
Objection. Sustained.
There's no reason that, well, first of all, he can object to anything he wants, but she shouldn't have sustained that because they are a powerful family. He's on the select board. Kevin Albert is a detective. Brian
Yep.
Albert is a Boston, they are a powerful family. That should have been a yes or no question. She should have never overruled that. So
There
again,
was nothing wrong with that question.
I'm going to play
No.
devil's advocate, and
I
that
mean,
that would be speculation from him
Well, it's irrelevant.
or
it's
irrelevant. Yeah.
Opinion. It's
well, I don't find it irrelevant because
It's not a
I
fact, though. It's an
part of the
opinion.
problem we have in our country right now is that there's all these powerful families running towns and they're running them into the ground or they're running them corruptly. So I get it why he asked it, but I see your points of why she sustained.
But that's part of Karen's defense, that they are powerful and they have influence over the police to frame her.
Right.
It is relevant.
Right.
I'm sorry. The
a
only thing
town
I could see
selectman,
is that
you
they
have
said,
some
how do you
power.
answer it for the entire family? So it's kind of not compound, but it's like he can't quite answer that if it's not everybody in his family that's powerful. That may be the only out I can give Judge Bev.
So I'm not a lawyer, but this is what I think he should have done when she said you can't, when she said, sustained, he should have, what he could have done then is run through the family. You're on the select board, aren't you, Mr.
Correct.
Albert? Yes. Your brother is the detective at the Canton Police Department, correct? Your other brother is a Boston police officer. So I think he could have done that if he wanted to show the jury how powerful they are. That's just
Well,
a
he
thought.
did. He did prior to that. But the beauty of what Bev has structured here is that they can't give the reason for the objection, so you don't know the reason for her overruling or sustaining. So it keeps everything in a gray area where you can't. It's not really obvious her bias, or so she thinks.
And
Well,
she's
here's the
also
other thing.
sealed. She's also sealed the objections at sidebars so that only the attorneys can see them.
Right.
Good point. Yep, good point. And good
I-
point.
can I ask-
I'm sorry,
Go ahead,
Amber.
I'm
I just
sorry.
want to quickly let the chat talk too. MCAT said should have used the word influential. Yeah, that might have been better.
Agreed.
Let's see here.
But I think here, it just doesn't make any sense to me that the judge can do this for piercing these like these little words. It's just not jiving for me that this is okay. Like she is, and like what MCAT said, I think it was MCAT earlier, that her brother was his lawyer, the witness on the stand.
Yeah, I just want to put these up real quick for you guys to chat with them about. But MCAT says, congrats when Bev says, I'll give you this one like it's a coin toss. And then she says, I go crazy when Bev, oops, autocorrect. And then good citizen, Bev's brother was his lawyer and he only got 6 months in jail for killing a man. And MCAT
I remember what I wanted to say. Can I say it before I forget it now? I keep forgetting it.
Your ADHD's kicking in, girl.
It's bad because I just had it in my head and then I lost it. Okay, so Lally is a bad lawyer. And the fact that you don't state objections and what the reasons are, the grounds. So you can say relevance. And if relevance is fine, the judge can say overruled or sustained. But if you don't give the correct objection, and that can happen. So it can continue to go forward where another grounds would have been valid, but you don't just get all of them. As a lawyer, you say objection, and that means it could be any of the 20 grounds. That's not how it works. You have to be a good lawyer and explain why you're objecting. That is not on the judge to determine like, oh, let me decide out of all 20, Lally, let me hold your hand and give you a lunchbox. Like, do they do this always in Massachusetts? Like, is everything no objections, or is this just a Judge Bev thing?
It's a Bev thing.
Yeah, she's got her own style.
Julie says no, Amber. It's a Mass thing to not give a reason to object. Okay, well, Massachusetts is backwards.
Yeah. Sherry D said, Sherry, I'm trying to find it. Where did you go, Sherry? I lost your comment now. Where did it go?
Well, her saying, I'll give you that one. That is a begrudging statement. That's not.
Yeah.
It's not a ruling. She's leaking her feelings in that statement, the way she phrases it.
Agreed.
Okay, let's go back to this guy. Thanks everybody for all your comments. I'm trying to put them up as quickly as I can, and while the ladies interject too, so you can all talk together.
Or do you not?
Yeah, so sorry. I just sometimes I forget things.
I'm one of 5 selectmen.
Don't be sorry. I just want to make
And
sure
as a police detective,
Friday
Kevin
Night
Albert has
Lies,
some
and I
power,
want our
does he
chat
not?
to be
Objection.
as helpful and interact with you guys as possible.
And you also have
Trying to
close
put up your
friends
comments
on the
for now.
Canton Police Department, do you not?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I have some.
Now,
I have
you know
some.
that Massachusetts
I want him
State
to
Police
ask who they
Trooper
are.
Michael Proctor is the lead investigator on this case, correct?
I know that.
One of your wife's best friends is Michael Proctor's sister, Courtney Proctor, correct?
Objection.
That's sustained. You've got another witness you can ask that of, Mr. Andy.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry. I didn't
You
mean
know
to
Courtney
swear.
Proctor, correct?
Objection.
We're not monetized,
Yes.
so I can do that
Question.
right
Over to
now.
be Michael
You know
Proctor's
Julie
sister,
Proctor.
correct?
You know the sister
correct.
of the lead investigator.
You
How is that
attended
not a
Michael
good question?
Proctor's sister's wedding, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Sure. Why don't you come on over?
Ridiculous. And that's
Your
to the
son
heart
was
of
in
the
her
defense.
wedding. Why
Can I
is
read
it
you guys-
questionable?
Can I read you
Is
guys
that
something?
she's an outsider. Yes, ma'am.
Rule 8, in civil actions pursuant to the provisions of Mass RCIV P46, and in criminal actions pursuant to Mass R Crim P22, if a party objects to the admission or exclusion of evidence, he may, if he so desires, state the precise grounds of his objection, but he shall not argue or further discuss such grounds unless the court then calls upon him for such argument or discussion. So I would
Correct.
extrapolate that would also apply to other objections, not just evidence.
So they're basically
Bev
saying
just
this is how we've
decided-
always done it in This is how we've always done it in Massachusetts, Mr. Jackson. So this is how we do it.
Yeah, well, that's her fallback.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Regardless if
now
that's the
the
law or not.
song is in my head. This
Yeah,
is how
this is
we
how
do
we-
it.
It's Friday night, right?
This is
And
how
I'm
we do
feeling right.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Sherry D says, but all need to remember, Lally and the judge were handed the FBI report, so they both know all the evidence against all the witnesses as well as the exculpatory evidence.
No, because that's a great comment, but according to Bev,
Welcome,
she didn't
Becky.
even realize Higgins was a witness and was in the house. Okay. And she said she read the however 1,000 pages it was, and she didn't really understand what their defense was. So yes, I get it. She should know, but she's playing dumb. She's playing possum.
Clerk Jim Clown says, Auntie said she read the whole TUI report and she can't tell who the third party culprit is. Didn't know who
Yes.
Higgins was.
That's exactly what I was just saying. Thank you, Clerk Jim. I'm the clown. I'm sorry. I stole your thunder.
Welcome, Becky. Becky just chimed in.
Hi, Becky. Sidebar.
Nice to see you.
Thanks, Becky.
I want a real bar. How about that? Not a side bar, a real bar.
All right. Let's go back and see what else.
Let that stand and then move on, please.
About 20 years. You testified.
Or if that's,
I believe, didn't you testify to that on direct examination just moments ago when Mr. Lally was asking you questions?
Objection, Your Honor.
Next question, Mr. Annothi. Objection sustained.
How long have you known Michael Proctor for?
I mean, I know he's Courtney's brother. I couldn't tell you exactly how long I've known him for.
I'd agree.
15
His
years or
is
so?
that's her
Roughly.
sister.
Who is Kenneth Berkowitz?
The former Canton police chief.
And how do you know him?
His son and my son are the same age. So they played on some sports teams when they were younger together. I think that's when I first came to know.
And he's your brother's
Some
boss.
soccer balls and bunnies.
He was your
I
brother's
became
boss.
friendly with him, sure.
And how would you characterize your relationship with him?
Friends,
You've seen him socially.
really.
You've been out for drinks with him.
I think maybe once.
And you've known him for how long?
20 plus years.
And I don't believe him. We're
And you
friends,
say
but we've never
you've
gone out.
Only
Maybe
been
once,
out
maybe
with
twice.
him for drinks one time in those 20 years?
I can't even remember if it was with drinks one time. Yeah, no.
We're calling
What
bullshit.
other types of activities have you done together?
Huh. You didn't go to his retirement party. Oh, okay.
I can't think of any. I think he came to an event that I held one time. That's about it.
How did you
Oh,
become friends?
because
because he didn't come to an event you hosted.
That event
No,
that I
he
just mentioned.
donated.
Yeah,
He donated
What
to
event
his
was that?
fund.
it was
for
my
the select board.
campaign event.
There's a lie.
When I was running for select board,
He was one of your supporters.
he
There we
came by.
Did he
He
donate
came
money
by,
to your campaign?
minimizing it.
I think he did.
Oh. But we're not
We
friends.
got your number.
Yes.
We're not friends.
We got your number, Chris Albert. You're not doing a
Oh,
good
look
job.
at that
We think you're
face. Did
smart.
you see that face?
Yeah, he was pissed.
He was pissed.
Got your number on the wall.
Jenny, I need your number.
Wow. I can't. I
Look
didn't
at
even
the
remember
faces
all
of
these
the
lies.
journalists.
Yeah, they're like, really? Kind of like what Jackson
Oh, look
said to
at
Colin.
Paul. Paul is like, oh, this is
I left
not
it on
going
so we
well.
could see. Yeah, so we could see some of the.
This is not go. Paul's like, this is not going well.
Kill me now.
Oh, Mr. O'Keefe.
And look at
So
John.
I'm
He's
going
just
to,
like, I don't even want to be here.
Display a
I'm sorry,
photograph
sir.
with the court's permission on the screen, and I'd ask you to take a look at it, and if you can let the jury
Do you have a
know.
hard copy of it?
Yes, we do have a hard copy.
So why don't you show it to the witness and
Happy
put
to
it in
do that.
evidence?
Thank you, Ron.
And we'll take that into evidence and then.
That makes sense. May I approach this?
Yes.
Bev's not even, she's looking at her phone, seeing
Okay,
who's
sir, I've handed
texting
you
her.
a photograph. Do you recognize what that depicts?
Yes.
What does it depict?
Me and Kenny Berkowitz.
And is that a fair and accurate representation of you and Kenny Berkowitz?
You mean is the picture us?
Yes.
Yes.
I would offer that, Your Honor.
Okay.
But you're not friends. You're not good friends.
Oh, wait.
55.
He gave me a 4-star review on Mediocre Farm.
May that be published to the jury on the screen, Your Honor?
Sure.
Ken Mello and his wife also donated. Oh my gosh.
So, Mr. Albert,
They came
that's,
by.
obviously you on the right and Kenny Berkowitz on the left.
You know,
Correct.
Have you seen
we
that
might
photo
want to look
before?
into this. All of these
I believe
guys
I've seen
seem
it.
to end up
You
dying
recall
after
when?
they eat D&E.
I believe that's my fundraiser for when I was running for the select board, that event that I spoke of earlier.
Okay. And when would it have been that you saw that photograph?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it was on my Facebook page when I was running for select board. It looks familiar.
Has Mr. Lally shown you that photograph?
No.
Has he informed you that the defense would be introducing that photograph during this trial?
Nope.
Nope.
You can take the-
That's
We
not
have
an
a-
answer I didn't like.
They
We
bent
have
you
a mid-
over, buddy. They bent you over.
We have a
You
man
would
in the
agree
house
with me
now.
that one of your functions as a selectman is to oversee public safety in the town?
Rita is the best.
Yes.
And you would agree that the police department is
But there's
a key
others that are the
component of
best,
public
too.
safety in the town of Canton?
Yes.
We have Dana,
So
and
part of your duties
Tracy.
as a town selectman is to
Peter
oversee
Murphy,
the Canton Police Department, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Richie.
I'll let him have it. Is that one of your duties?
I believe so. I'm new at the, I'm recently elected,
like
so
he's
I'm just
Pushing
going
out a
through it.
I'm
But yeah,
recently
I believe so.
elected.
And you
Hear that?
became a town selectman shortly after Kenny Berkowitz
There it
retired,
is.
correct?
I'm not sure when Kenny retired.
But you would agree with me that Kenny Berkowitz has both personal and professional relationships with you and members of your family, correct?
Can you rephrase that?
You would agree with me that the former Canton Police Chief, Kenny Berkowitz, has both personal and professional relationships with you and members of your family.
Objection, Your Honor. It's the same question.
You're not supposed to state anything other
I'm
than the
not sure.
grounds,
I agree with
Lally.
that question.
Well, your brother Kevin Albert worked under Chief Berkowitz, correct?
Correct.
Would you consider that to be a professional relationship?
With them too, yes.
And your brother Brian Albert attended Chief Berkowitz's retirement party, did he not?
I have no idea.
'Cause he's
But
a
your
little
brother
punk.
Brian is also a
Bullshit!
friend of Kenny Berkowitz, is he
Oh,
not?
I sorry. Did I say that out
He
loud?
may be, not sure.
And as far as your, ties to the Canton Police, you would agree with me that
I have to use my
Lieutenant
inside
Michael
voice.
Blank is a member of the Canton Police Department, correct?
He
Or
is.
we're turning the
And
fan
you've been
off.
friends with him for years, correct?
I've known him for a long time.
You've been childhood friends with him since the age of 12, correct?
Somewhere around there, maybe earlier.
And you're tight with him.
I don't know if I call it tight.
He's not an enemy of yours,
I
is
love
he?
me some Jen
God, no.
O'Donnell, by the way.
He's a friend of yours, correct?
Sure.
That girl,
And does Sean
Rita's
mean
the
yes?
queen, and she's
Yes.
like the queen of the
Now, your
Jen's
older
the other
brother,
queen of
Brian,
the country
you've
next
already
door.
testified, was a Boston police officer.
Very
for
intelligent
years,
woman.
Correct?
Correct.
And he achieved some notoriety on a television show, did he not?
Objection.
Jen's good people. Very good
He was in
people.
the
she
Fugitive
is.
Unit.
She
Correct.
is. Very much.
And you know that your brother Brian was also a trained boxer, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Brian is a
Yes,
lot bigger guy
someone
than
has
you
to have
are.
that footage. Come
correct?
forward.
Objection.
Sustained.
Of the retirement party footage.
Your brother Brian Albert is someone who is close to his family, correct?
Yes.
And when I say his family, I'm talking about not just his wife
Agreed,
and
Julie.
children, but also his extended family, correct?
Yes.
You were part of his family, obviously, correct?
Yes.
And your son Colin is part of his family, correct?
Yes.
The Albert family is close, correct?
Yes.
You all essentially grew up in Canton, correct?
Correct.
And you hung out with each other growing up, correct?
We were siblings, so
Of course.
yes.
And you still hang out with each other quite
We
often.
want to know
correct?
about the upside down pineapples.
Like all of us,
In various combinations.
Did I say that out loud?
we have
I'm
different
sorry.
relationships with
Once
with my
again.
siblings.
Sure. But you see some more than others, but you hang out with your family. Do you not?
Yeah, mostly during holidays.
And
Do y'all know what that
you,
means,
go
the
out for
upside down
drinks together,
pineapple? Because
correct?
I didn't learn that until about
Occasionally.
like 2 years ago.
And you're protective of each
I don't know
other,
what that
correct?
means.
Pause,
Like
pause.
most
We have to
families.
tell Deirdre.
And if someone had a dispute
Pause.
with a member of the Albert family, Brian wouldn't be happy about that.
Upside
correct?
down
Objection.
pineapples, if you're on a
You know that
cruise
Brian would
or you're at
stick
a
up for your-
campground or something.
Or
If you're
anywhere.
on a cruise or you're on a, like, if you're at a campground or you're at a resort or something, you put an upside down pineapple to show that you're a swinger.
Ew.
Mhm.
Never.
And my
did
mom
I
used to have these
ever-
pineapples, so I started making fun of her constantly, putting them
Never
upside
did
down.
I ever think our live stream tonight would become a lecture on how to figure out the
Leave
sign.
pineapples alone.
No, we have to educate the masses here. This is what
We
this is
do.
about, right, Kat? It's about
Okay.
education.
Let me tell you the education I got, because the other name for Buchanan, for the longest time, I thought there was two detectives. The one with the nickname,
was either.
I didn't know what that was. I thought there were two people with very similar names.
Julie.
Oh, you meant
Julie
bukkake?
calls him Bukaki.
Yeah, I didn't know what that
That's
was.
because of Julie.
Yeah, but we didn't know what it meant, the real word, what it meant. I didn't know what it meant either. I just thought they couldn't pronounce his name. I'm like,
No,
what the heck is
I was
Bukaki?
worse
Why
than
is everybody laughing?
I didn't know what it meant, but I also thought there was two people. Like I
No.
didn't even really realize.
No, the upside down pineapple is a swinger thing.
Oh,
It is.
geez.
There's a town to my west that's called the Villages, and some of you may have heard of it. It's a huge, it's like a giant neighborhood, but it's like this Disneyland for adults. All the neighborhoods have themes, and so all the little town squares have the theme of whatever. If it's old, like a French theme, or if it's a cabin in the woods theme, and so all the little towns inside of this Villages all have their own little themes, and they have all their little own town squares where bands play on the weekends. I think they have like pools, tennis courts, golf courses all over. It's a huge property. And it has been rumored that there are some swingers that live there. And so they put the upside down pineapple on their golf carts because everybody owns a golf cart there. So
The cruise ships, some of the cruise ships have now banned people putting the magnets or the pictures of the upside down pineapples
right.
on
So
their
I
doors.
want to just welcome somebody. Amandla Stander is from South Africa. Welcome.
Welcome.
We're happy.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Amanda. I'm sorry I missed your comment.
The question of the night is, do you use the upside down pineapple in South Africa if you are a swinger? I
I
doubt
met
it.
a lot of people from South Africa when I visited my son in Australia. There's a lot of
I
South
don't
African
think they
people
use
there.
a pineapple. I don't think they use the pineapple.
And they used to use something else. So the pineapple is, don't ask me why I know all this either, guys. No, I have
Oh,
never.
wait. You have to tell. You have to
because of
tell how
Batman.
you know.
You know this
You
because of
have to
Batman.
tell. You have to tell.
So this is a men are dumb story. It's really not fair to insert it in here tonight, but there was an occasion where I might have dated someone who might have been a swinger before I dated him and asked me if I would consider that lifestyle. So I learned a little bit about that lifestyle because he was very persistent in telling me how awesome it is and why it's so yes,
Turbulence.
yes. Another dating story for the Men Are Dumb series, which I might as well plug it for those of you that are
Oh my
live.
God.
Men Are Dumb will be back next month. We're having an episode the night before my birthday. My birthday is on Valentine's Day, so I will not live on Valentine's Day, but we will have an episode of Men Are Dumb on Friday, on February 13th. And this episode, yeah, I found a really good rock song, guys. I found a really good rock song for this episode, and the rock song is basically, sorry to swear, YouTube, but it's it's basically, you know, why should I have to get over somebody? I can be upset and heartbroken as long as I want. So you guys will see it. I'll put it on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. The episode will be on February 13th, and I was going to speak to this because I wish I had a camera of my shocked face with some of these dumb men that I have dated and some of the inappropriate topics they bring up on date 1, 2, or 3, which if you would have watched Men Are Dumb a couple weeks ago, you would have seen a couple examples of my very scary, bizarre dating life. So that's just our way of doing something different on Wednesday nights. Like I was saying, on Women's Empowerment Night, we just cannot cover our victims and families every single night of the week because we will all get overwhelmed with grief. We already feel so much. Sarah and Michelle and Sandra Birchmore's family and Suzanne Morphew's family. We're working through all these cases that are so devastating. We have to have a night, Men Are Dumb night, where we talk about all of our crazy dating stories, or where we have a spa night so we can just hang together. And like, if you go back and watch our spa episode in our library, we were all putting facials.
Deidre doesn't have any of those because she's highly intelligent over all of us.
Well,
Deidre doesn't have
those. Like, my virgin ears.
Well, that's how I never knew much about the swinging life, but I did have a friend from high school who didn't participate in it. He wasn't in a relationship or married at the time, but he did go to one of the swinging resorts where they had a section for singles where swingers, if they were interested in threesomes, could invite the single area to join them. So it's for any of you that are interested, it's in Tampa. And no, I have never done that. But it does
you know a lot, Kat. You know a lot.
I know too much. I know too much. Okay, back to the program.
Objection.
I'm not gonna lie.
Your son Colin is particularly close to your brother Brian, is he not?
Oh, we can't see the video.
Do you know? Sorry, guys.
Yes.
In fact, your son Colin was a football player through high school, was he not?
Yes.
What was his number?
In high school?
Yes.
34, I believe.
I don't know his number.
30,
that was the worst lie.
Oh, 34 Fairview.
Okay, that's a freaking lie, because I'm going to tell you right now. My kids started playing sports when they were 5 years old. There is not a parent on this universe that doesn't know their kid's number. No way. He was a star athlete. He was a big deal at Canton High School. And I'm not going to tell you, I can guarantee you that kid asked for 34 because it meant something to him. Just the reason why my son asked for his numbers. There is no way that Colin Albert just coincidentally got 34 fair. No, I don't buy it for a second. I don't buy it. I think he wanted.
And there's always this.
Before or after?
I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that. Why wouldn't they want?
But I don't think people caught that.
Why is he being so evasive?
Hello. Was it before or after that he got that number?
Before or after what?
John's death.
Oh, I don't relate it to that. I relate it to what? Okay, here I'll tell you. This is what I think. Okay, Chris is trying to downplay how close Colin and Brian are because they're trying to upplay that they were so close that Brian would do anything to defend Colin because he was his godfather and they were besties. So Anothy is trying to say, hey, they were so close that he chose 34 for his football number. And Chris, first of all, doesn't even remember his son's football number. Don't buy that.
Bullshit.
That's not true. And then when he asked him, because it's 34 Fairview, and he said, no, I don't think so. I don't think you can pick your number. You will certainly can pick your number. Now,
yes, you can.
It does go by position. So, but he would have had a choice between like 32, 34, 35, whatever.
It has a meaning. There's a meaning to that number. It was the grandparents' home. It's their family. It was the center, the core of their family, that home. 34
You've got
Fairview.
got Michael Jordan being 23, and then you've got Kobe Bryant taking 24.
Right.
Come on.
But there's nothing
Yes,
wrong with that.
it has a story. Every single number on a jersey has a story, and I can tell you my son's. I can tell you his story. You know, they wouldn't allow anybody to have the number 1 in football, right? So they never ordered those jerseys. And one of the coaches that was helping out, Javion, got there to pick his, and he picked 10, and he said that's a really good number because it's 1 but backwards, you know. And forever, like I will forever remember that story. I will forever remember that number for that reason. So this is total bullshit. It's a complete lie, and it makes him look really bad.
I just stopped.
Another lie.
I just wanted to point that out to you guys. I think it's just they did not want to make it look like Colin and Brian were that close, because Anothy's trying to do the opposite. He's trying to show that they were very close, and there's probably nothing that Brian wouldn't have done to protect Colin. So that there's
and
and there are still people wondering, because of the upside down pineapple, if Colin could be. People are wondering.
Interesting.
And you know, he would be the preferred son, so to speak, because It's Raining Men is the other one, and he's not exactly Fight Club material.
Yep.
And before we go back to it, I wanted to just read. So Sherry D says, at Social Change Warriors at Deidre Sargent, the Aruba trip. How many people went? Apparently swinger. Oh, right. I forgot all
Eddie
about
Rodriguez
Aruba.
and his wife. Yep.
Oh.
And Karen called him a pervert on the like they were saying. I always wondered that. I'm like, that is a really odd comment to make about somebody. Like, why would you call them a pervert?
Well,
you call him a cheater, but a pervert?
I think it was because the girl that he supposedly saw kissing was a family friend from a younger age,
right,
forward. So not
but this is a month later. Karen's leaving him a voicemail when he's not calling her back, calling him a pervert. That is to me,
and we may never
that's an odd
know if
insult.
Karen didn't want to come in because she knew that they were swingers. We may never know until after this trial, the second trial, is over with. If she
may
knew
admit
that.
it. Yeah, she may admit it at some point. I don't know. I mean, where did those rumors start that the Alberts are swingers? Do you guys know where that was?
There's a lot. I know Sean on the Golf has put out there that it's kind of been out there that Brian Albert coveted Jen. She was the coveted sister, not Nicole, but he really wanted Jen. So there may have been some hanky between the two of them.
And Julie.
Allegedly.
Julie Daniels. Yeah. That's another one.
Deirdre, you're so funny. My virgin Betty eyes.
Betty Davis.
Her Betty Davis eyes. I told her, she does.
Agree.
She looks like Betty Davis to me. She has beautiful Betty Davis eyes.
That's better than.
I'm going to round you guys back in. I agree with Becky here a little bit, though. I wasn't saying Becky, or I don't think anybody's saying that the swingers thing had anything to do with it. That would have been a sideshow. I agree with you. I think there was something to do with.
But I think that's what made Karen uncomfortable. On top of Higgins being there.
That would kind of make sense if she knew that they were swingers and he's going over there and not calling her back. And he's like, you effing pervert, like you're staying at their house or you're not calling me back. Yep. Oh my gosh, that kind of makes more sense. No wonder Sean on the Golf puts things out there. And I just want to say there is a nugget of truth. He heard it somewhere. It didn't come out of his butt. Okay.
But Karen already knew. True. Karen already knew that Higgins was okay with flirting with her. So now we have this house full of people, and Higgins is there.
She admitted in the text messages that John to Higgins that John had questioned her about if she was hooking up with Higgins.
See?
Yeah. But I don't think that night had anything to do with swinging, guys. That if they're swinging,
I don't either.
First of all, it's a rumor. We have no way to prove that right now.
Nope, we do not.
About it. It makes for good humor and laughter on Friday night. For those of us that want to giggle a little bit about it, but I really don't think so. I think they wanted John at that house so they could talk to him and
Quote
set him
unquote,
straight
talk to
on
him.
something that they were not happy with him about. That is just
Well,
totally what I believe
Agreed.
is the case.
It
So,
wasn't their goal, but it may have been her worry.
Agreed.
yeah, possible. Very,
And
very
she seemed
possible.
histrionic. She was very histrionic. So like he's dead or it's this or it's that. And I get it. I get like you go to the worst case scenario. My son was just in the hospital. What it was supposed to be was something incredibly benign. And the what Dr. Google told me was something extremely small, tiny, itty bitty chance that it wasn't. And I go, okay, I'm scared. Let me just go rule that out. It is like it's almost an anxiety thing. So it's not necessarily that it's always truth. It's the fear. It's the thoughts.
Yeah. And I just wanted to tell you that MCAT said, ew, my gross out meter is going nuts. So I don't think she any more about swingers and pineapples and golf carts.
I don't think MCAT minded that until we converted it to the Alberts here. Then it was like, ooh.
Okay.
I'll have to tell you. I
don't think so.
Now, you testified you moved to Maple Street in Canton not long before January 28th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And before that, you lived at 7 Meadows Ave in Canton?
Correct.
And that was when John O'Keefe was your neighbor, correct?
Correct.
I believe you testified he was a couple of houses away from you?
Yes.
And he was your neighbor for a series of years, was he not?
Yes.
While he was living in the neighborhood, you knew
he already knows.
Working as a Boston police officer, correct?
Correct.
And you were familiar with him, correct?
What do you mean? What do you mean by familiar?
The nose twitch. He knows.
You know, you became familiar with him.
Yeah, he was my neighbor. I knew who he was.
And you knew that he was not married, correct?
Yes.
And at a certain point, you knew that he was dating Karen
A chin
Reed.
rub.
Yeah, at some point.
All right.
Another sniff.
Now, you would agree with me that your family has a police background, sir, correct?
I don't think it's ticked.
I wouldn't agree with that statement.
Two of your brothers
Some of it might be a
are
little
or
burnt
were
out
police
nostrils.
officers, correct?
Out of 7 of us, yes.
And you knew friends of your brothers who were also police officers or in law enforcement, correct?
Correct.
And you had already testified that you know some members of the Canton Police Department, correct?
Correct.
And you socialized with police officers, did you not?
Which ones?
Have I? Sure.
You've been to bars with police officers, correct?
Correct.
And you've drank with police officers, right?
Sure.
And you were friendly with police officers, correct?
Yes.
And with regard to, I'd like to
Why
ask
not?
some
Which ones?
questions about people specifically connected to this case. We've established that Lieutenant Lank has been a friend of yours for years, correct?
Yes.
We've established that you know former police chief Kenneth Berkowitz in such a way that you feel comfortable calling him before this jury Kenny Berkowitz, correct?
I know Kenny. Yep.
And
Kenny Hide-a-Body Berkowitz.
he's actually donated to your campaign when you were running for town selectman, correct?
Correct.
And
now
you
his
also
collar.
knew Michael Proctor prior to January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
You've attended social events together with him, have you not?
Objection.
I'll let that one question.
I'll let that one question.
So
Come on.
And she doesn't know if she's going to
At
allow
some
more or
point,
not, depending on the answer. So shut
Michael
up, Bev.
Proctor came to question you, did he not?
Along with another trooper, correct.
And at the point in time when Michael Proctor came to question you, you knew who he was, correct?
Yes.
You knew him by face, correct?
Correct.
And you knew him by name, correct?
Correct.
There was no need for Michael Proctor to formally introduce himself to you, was there?
Objection.
Oh, see, he's getting nervous.
What did he say when he first walked in the door in terms of introductions.
Objection.
Sustained.
They would be
What
seeing
the
a self
hell?
evident.
Sure.
What was
F.
wrong with that question? Oh, because it was
Well,
say,
what
it
do
was
you
hearsay.
think
Because he
she's
said,
not-
what did he say?
Yeah, what do you think they got? So I'm interested in why they have to go to sidebar on this. Like it's a line of questioning, so maybe that's she wants to scold him. I think that's the whole purpose of sidebar, is to give him a chance to convince her why she should, stop objecting to his line of questioning. It'd be so
Well, he
interesting.
could have, Anothy could have asked him, did he have to introduce himself?
Yeah,
He
that's a
could have
yes or
asked
no.
that.
Did he shake your hand? Did he speak with you at all? Those aren't telling, and that's not saying what he said, but you might elicit something out of him, out of Chris Albert, with those types of questions. So yeah, I do. That was the only question because it was hearsay.
Yeah, right. So
That's
Becky
that's
says,
the first one Bev got right.
yeah. Becky says, Officer John O'Keefe reported drug activity. I would assume they confront him. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to, it's just rational. It's like rational thinking, right, Becky? I mean, he was writing him about that for many, many months. So I really agree that that was part of why they wanted to chat with him at 34 Fairview that night. Julie says, I always say, consider the source. What's the source of the people blacklisting him? What's their motive? Oh, that's about
Talking about Papa Sean.
Yeah, that was about Sean. Yeah, that whole thing that's another subject for another day.
I look at it that number one, Brian was concerned about what John was saying about Colin, but then we also have, I'm pretty doggone sure, just for my own watching the trial, that he knew about Higgins and Karen. So he had a double motive.
Yep. You're right, Sherry. When you say tics, I know what you meant. It was involuntary, this or that. Chris cannot control. Yeah, he definitely has some. When he gets annoyed, they kind of become more prevalent. When he's like annoyed with the questioning or annoyed with Yanetti's, line of drilling him on something.
It's a release. It's a way to release frustration.
And it's not unusual, Becky, for people to use businesses to cover other things. They run their business, but they also do other things within the business. That's not unusual. Boy, if we had a list right now, if someone gave us a list of all of that's going on in this country right now.
My girlfriend that lives down here with me told me that she did at some point, because she's from Mass, and she did spend some time in Canton. And if you went into a piece of place, you asked for a slice or you asked for a pie. If you wanted a pie with drugs, you got an 8-ball. If you wanted a slice, you got less. That's just that's what she told me, because at that time she was in the drug scene.
But how would they know if you wanted that or if you really wanted a pie or a slice?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you relay that on your phone conversation.
Interesting. There's really no way. There's tells, obviously there's tells that you're trained to look for depending on if you're a doctor, nurse, police officer, firefighter. But, that would be complete speculation if we started accusing all of the Alberts and Kays of doing drugs. So we're not going to do that here tonight. But yeah, they all definitely had some stress tics where they're starting to feel under stress. So, all right, I'm going to click you back on.
Anchovies, I like that.
Nobody likes anchovies.
Good citizen says anchovies, and she covered.
Are they back yet? Nope. Okay, let me go.
to question you, sir. You knew that Karen Reed had been charged in this case, correct?
Yes.
And you knew that John O'Keefe had been found dead on your brother's lawn, correct?
Correct.
Did it occur to you that it was odd that the state police sent somebody from the Proctor family to interview you
Objection, Your Honor.
on February 10th of 2022?
Sustained.
All right. Now, you've testified that on January 28th of 2022, that day, that Friday that you were working, John O'Keefe stopped into D&E Pizza, your shop, correct?
Correct.
And there was discussion about whether you would be going out that night, and if so, where you would be, correct?
Correct.
Now, you've previously, on direct examination, characterized your relationship with him as being friends, correct?
Correct.
It's fair to say, however, that prior to January 28th of 2022, you had never exchanged personal information with John O'Keefe, correct?
You mean, I'm sorry, you mean like phone numbers or but
A cell number prior to that day.
no, I didn't.
And at that point in time, he had lived in your neighborhood for 4 to 5 years, correct?
Correct.
So I believe you've testified that that night after working, you went out around 10 minutes of 10 p.m.?
Roughly.
Before going out, did you have anything alcoholic to drink?
I think I may have had a beer at my pizza shop. I don't remember exactly.
So you have a
See, beer at pizza
refrigerator
shop.
there that you can keep drinks cold, correct?
Yep.
Among other things.
And
Among other
you
things.
do have
What, dead body? You
beers
keep
in
it that cold?
fridge for
Sometimes.
personal use?
Sometimes.
Do you
I'm
know how
sorry,
many
was I
beers that you would have
sniffing?
had before going out?
No.
And would you have drank that beer as you were cleaning up at the end of the night?
Probably.
Did you have anything to eat at the pizza shop?
No.
When did you last eat before you went out at 9:50 or so?
When did I last eat?
Yes.
It's a long time ago. I'm not sure.
I'm getting hungry.
But he remembers what he ate at the
And
waterfall,
you
but
knew
it's a
that your
long
wife
time
Julie
ago.
was starting the night at CF McCarthy's, correct?
Yes.
And you couldn't meet her there because you were still working, right?
Chris
Correct.
never had John's number
But at some
before
point
that
you
day.
heard
Me
that
too, Sherry
Julie
D.
and others were headed to the waterfall,
Wait,
correct?
how did he watch the house and send him pictures of them drinking on his lawn if he didn't have his phone number? You are a liar. Remember
So
how
I'm
that
just
came
gonna-
out?
I'm just going to let you guys know, Amber and Deirdre and Annette and all of our awesome commentators. He has about approximately 35 minutes of questions left for Chris. So I'm going to give you guys an option here. We can close it now and finish Chris up and then go right into Julie next Friday night, or we can go watch a little bit of Julie and then finish Chris up at the beginning of next Friday and then go back to Julie.
Let's just finish Chris.
I say finish, Chris.
Do we
If
have
you have to
all-
like tape our mouths shut, we can do that.
Speak for yourself, girl. Speak for yourself.
Julie had John's
all of
number.
our social change warriors that are with us in the chat, would you like to finish up Chris, or would you like to see a little bit of Julie before we close out tonight? I'm gonna
do Julie next time.
I'm gonna let everybody decide if they would like.
Julie's telling us to shut up, Amber.
Do you want to go to Julie for a little bit, or do you want to stay with Chris? Just type Chris or Julie in the chat box, please. I'm just waiting for them to all catch up. A good citizen,
allowed
I'm
to vote?
waiting for whatever. Amber, you are not allowed to vote.
What about me? I'm doing it too.
Deirdre's allowed to vote, and Annette is allowed to vote.
Wait, why
Chris.
am I not allowed to vote?
Because you're not your co-host, you don't get to vote. You
Why am I
decide.
put in
as
timeout?
Annette. Biased, says Julie.
I think Chris is winning here.
You're not helping, Julie. You're
Okay,
not helping.
We got a Julie. We got a you decide. We got a Chris.
Kat's
I'm
gonna
good with
turn the
whatever
fan
you
off
ladies are good
soon.
with.
Kat said,
Okay.
Annette and Amber, you better shut up or I'm going to turn the fan off.
Oh, we have Amanda saying Chris too. Welcome,
Okay.
It's the air
Amanda.
conditioner.
Oh,
You
welcome.
turned the
Yeah.
air conditioner off.
Amanda's been with us.
Oh, the
She
air
is from
conditioner.
South Africa. So, okay, we will finish up, Chris. I'm just getting sick of him, to be totally honest with you. I was looking forward to a little Julie tonight, and I should have double checked how long this testimony was. I did not
You
realize.
have a crush on him. You know you do, Kat.
Put
Oh,
1.25 speed because
I've
Anothy
watched-
talks slow.
Yeah,
I have watched too much of the Canton Select Board because of Rita and Jen and all of our friends that we've made, and his behavior in those meetings just irks me. So it's hard for me to watch him at all.
Oh, wait. Sherry says this is when Chris lies. So we
okay,
need
very
to stay
good.
with it.
Okay.
All right, we'll
Let's
do it.
with
We'll
it.
stay with them. It's a Friday night. If you guys are all okay, I'm okay.
Cállate la
Yes.
boca grande.
And that was where you planned to go after you closed up D&E
Oh, yeah.
Pizza.
Sherry D says speed it up
Correct.
at the bottom. Do 1.25. Anothy speaks slow.
With regard to the time that you left, 9:50 or so is your best estimate of when you're closing the doors and walking over to the waterfall?
Yes.
And the waterfall is a short walk to D&E Pizza,
That's good,
Yes.
Kat.
maybe about 3 minutes?
Yeah,
About
that's
that.
good.
And
That's
your
great.
plan was to walk there that night, correct?
Correct.
You had not taken a car to D&E Pizza anyway, right?
I don't believe so.
So what time did you get to the waterfall?
Shortly before 10. I don't know exactly.
All right. And yeah, I believe you've testified that John O'Keefe and Karen Reed were not there when you arrived, right?
Correct.
And the food that you ordered, do you remember what appetizers you would have gotten?
Probably like potato skins and some sort of chicken tenders. I would guess. It's 2 years ago, so
See?
I don't remember exactly.
And did you order
Diet
a drink along with
potato
the
skins.
appetizers?
I believe so.
All right, and that would have been the Miller Lite that you talked about?
The sour cream
Correct.
was light.
Then not long after you got there, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins showed up, correct?
Correct.
And
Sounds like
you had
together.
met Brian Higgins prior to that night.
Amen.
Yes.
In fact, you had testified
See
that you had seen him around quite a bit, correct?
A few times.
And you knew him, I believe your testimony was, from him working inside the Canton Police Station, correct?
I knew that he worked there.
Did you testify on direct examination?
Isn't that what
quote,
Unity
I
just
knew
said?
him from working inside Canton PD.
Yes.
And you've been inside Canton Police, correct?
Maybe twice in my life.
When I killed a man when
You
I
knew
was
that
driving.
Brian
Yes.
Albert, your brother, and Brian Higgins were friends, correct?
I knew they knew each other.
So are you saying that they were acquaintances?
No, I guess they're friends.
Sherry
You
D.
guess they're friends?
Scratch and sniff. That's what she said.
Yeah, they're friends.
Was there something confusing about my question the first time I asked it?
Objection, Your Honor.
In any case, would you agree that shortly before Brian Albert and Brian Higgins arrived at the waterfall, or shortly after they did, there was a couple whom, I believe you called them a Greek couple because their last name is difficult to pronounce for everybody. But do you remember them
I mean,
being
now
there?
he's going to talk about
Yes.
him.
All right. If I mention the name Kolakifis, does that ring a bell? Or do you,
That's them, yeah.
that's
Cool. The
okay.
Kisis are
And the whole group was
awesome.
either standing or sitting around a high top table.
Correct.
And at 9:45 p.m., you texted John O'Keefe while you were at the waterfall, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree with me that the language of your text was, quote, "Get over here or I'll fuck up your lawn," end quote?
That was one of the texts.
Wait, what did Nettie just whisper there? Something about the tape? He whispered something. We got a hot mic.
May I approach?
Sure.
Oh, do we have, just say you have it?
No, it's remarked.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
love
think
the
I asked
Greeks.
for photos.
Good, that's fine.
Thank you. I've
They were
placed in
very
documents
honest and
before
good
you, sir. Take a look at that and tell the jury whether or not you recognize it.
Yeah, I recognize it.
What is it?
It's a text message. 2 text messages.
Okay. And who are the participants in that text message exchange?
Me and John.
And what is it that you said and at what time?
He's getting.
So
he's getting
the first one
nervous.
is
Okay. One over.
Oh yeah, do you ever see Bev back there with the squeaky chair, like just rocking away and like spinning? She's got ADHD. He's getting upset. He's touching his face a lot. He's scratching. He's getting red. Yeah, Karen looks pissed.
What time of day was it? Was it getting close to 5 o'clock for Bev?
Bev was like, I got to get to the Cape. We stop at 4 on the dot. Hey, Julie, because you're from Massachusetts, is there something in Massachusetts with the courts, like maybe unions or something that they have to stop right at the dot? Because I've seen court cases and I've seen judges go way into the evening to finish something up if they needed to. And Massachusetts is the only place I have ever seen where they stop at 4 o'clock on the dot. So yes, ma'am, Julie says. So you're saying, are those like union rules, or like, is there a reason why that they can never go over? Because to me, it's not very efficient. Like, I've known judges that have been like, we have Dr. Russell from California here, and instead of having her fly back, we have another hour left to do. Can you all stick it out so we don't have to put extra charges on defendant? That is something that I've seen in other court cases. I've never seen this except in Massachusetts. That's a Bev thing. Okay. Well, Bev, she needs her claw and, the cape. So.
As I did yesterday. So before you consider any communication in your deliberations, you must first find that it's more likely true than not true that the person who either authored or sent or created or transmitted the communication was in fact John O'Keefe and this witness, Chris Albert. If you do not find that it's more likely true than not that John O'Keefe sent one, or that this witness was the person who sent the message or transmitted it, then you may not consider it in deciding this case. So
why didn't they
at this point
disclose those messages?
For his edification, this is part of Exhibit 48, which is already in evidence. But I would ask that this particular exchange be posted on the screen with the court.
Sure.
Okay. And so you'd agree that when you say it was 2 text messages, they're both.
Oh, they did. Sorry.
Subject, correct?
I forgot this part.
What do you mean? I don't follow you.
It says get over here, right? And then the second is a continuation of that. If not, I'm going to fuck up your lawn, correct?
So you mean that's to tell him to come over to the waterfall?
Right.
Okay. I just didn't understand what you meant.
That's fine. So you're telling John O'Keefe this, correct?
Yeah, I'm telling him to come over and meet us.
All right. And that little emoji.
What is the attachment
share? I'm going to fuck up your lawn. That's
it's a laughing face.
Right. So you're
a joke.
Saying you're cracking up.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Joke.
Sorry.
No, the attachment.
Apologize.
Okay.
Attachment preview.
Attachment shared.
At about 10:45 p.m. or so, I believe you testified that was when John O'Keefe walked into the bar with his girlfriend, Karen Reed.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Would you agree with me that between the time you arrived and the time you eventually left, that you did go up to the bar within that establishment a few times?
I'm sure he did.
And bought a few rounds of drinks?
I'm sure.
Including that one round of fireball shots?
Correct.
Claws and clams.
What was the state of your sobriety when John and Karen arrived?
Thank you, good citizen.
Probably fine. Fine.
You didn't feel like intoxicated
No.
or unable to, perceive what's going on. You were still in control of your faculties?
Yes.
And is it true that after John and Karen arrived, that your wife, Julie, didn't want to stay any longer or too much longer?
She didn't want to. She had a headache, so she wanted to go home.
Right. And by that
She
point in
didn't
time,
want
you
to
had been there
stay
about an hour,
because she
maybe a little
wanted to
less.
go home.
When Karen and John arrived?
Right.
Yeah, about an hour.
I think
you were
she
having
knew
fun.
what was going to happen,
Sure.
and she
And
didn't
so
want any part of it.
Julie drove home, but you stayed, correct?
She's a nervous
Correct.
wreck.
All right.
She
And
can
in terms of
crack.
Karen
She looks like
Reed's
she'll crack.
drinking, as far as you could see, she had that glass that she came in with that appeared to have a clear liquid in it, correct?
Correct.
And I believe you said either a lime or a lemon.
Thought I said a line, but yeah.
Okay. And you assumed that was, vodka and soda water or vodka in some type of mixer, correct? That was clear?
Correct.
And if she was, while drinking that night, if she was mixing in water in between alcoholic drinks, it would have been impossible for you to discern which drinks were water and which drinks were vodka, correct?
Yeah, I would have no
Thank
idea.
You can't tell that by eyeballing a drink, right?
No.
Because both liquids are clear.
Because I do that. If I
Yes.
have drinks,
And
I
in
have a
order to
glass of
discern
water
that,
in
you'd actually have to
between.
be given a sip to see, right? Okay. But in any case, Karen does not appear to be under the influence of alcohol to you.
I didn't notice anything.
She wasn't stumbling, correct?
Nope.
She wasn't swaying.
I didn't notice.
She didn't appear to be unbalanced, correct?
I didn't notice anything.
She wasn't slurring her
Okay,
words.
so how did they prove
Nope.
she was
talking
drunk?
gibberish, correct?
No.
She was engaging in
I
normal
think he's
conversation
being
and she
truthful
appeared to be
here.
under control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you agree with me that she also
is
appeared to be
truthful.
affectionate with John O'Keefe?
I wasn't really watching their interactions too much, to be honest.
But in any case, you never saw any arguing between the two of them.
I wasn't really paying attention to
Yeah.
their
They have
And you
aged a
interactions.
lot.
You didn't
They don't look as
perceive
beautiful as the
any
ladies on
tension
this
between
panel,
them, correct?
I didn't notice anything irregular.
except for me tonight.
Shut
Okay.
up.
And from your observations of Karen Reed that night, and you were there probably over 2 hours, were you not?
Total? About that, yeah.
From your observations of Karen that night, you would have had no problem with her driving a car, correct?
I wouldn't even have thought about it.
Imagine
Okay.
that.
Now, would you agree with
telling
me
you,
that of
drugs
the
and
group that you had
smoking
met
and
out, that you were the
all
last
of that
person
just
to leave the waterfall
ages
on
you.
January 29th of 2022?
I believe so.
Now, you previously, well, you testified on direct examination today, I believe, that you thought you got home between 12:05 and 12:10 a.m. on January 29th, correct?
That's what I remember.
If I suggested to you that you didn't even leave the bar until 12:13 a.m., would you quarrel with that?
Would I quarrel with
No.
it? No, I guess not. I mean,
And
He knows
is your
he's
memory
screwed.
exhausted as to the precise time that you left the bar?
is it exhausted?
Right. In other words, do you not remember the precise time that you left the bar that early morning?
It's over 2 years ago. I don't know the precise time.
Right.
That's why I said between 12:05 and 12:10.
But
That-
you
that
were
answers my question.
prepped.
Thank you.
Pretty
Do we
precise.
have Exhibit 50? What was the court's
But you
permission?
were
Can I call it Exhibit
prepped.
53? It's a short clip
Yeah,
from
but
the waterfall.
12:05 to 12:10 is pretty precise. Like I would have been like
Right.
12:15 or 12:30.
I would have said between
12:05,
12 and
12:10
12:30.
is so that is specific.
Yeah.
So that's almost coach. That's almost fake. That doesn't feel real to me.
Ruh-roh, here we go, Shruggy.
How many people testified? 12:10, 12:10, 12:10.
Yep, they all had the same story. They all got their
Really?
timeline right based on Julie Nagel's text.
12:10.
Right. Coach, the social change warriors. Correct.
And then when we see JFK's and Microdot's videos afterwards, where after he grabs Higgins' arm, he's over in front of John O'Keefe at the table, and he's like throwing his arms up in the air, like, "Dude, I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening."
Yeah, and then he testifies on the stand that there was no
Or
issues.
chill
no
out.
fight.
Ms. Rowell,
Something
you would
like
agree
that,
with me,
yeah.
this was
There's
clearly the
nothing.
end of the night?
Sure.
The lights are all on at this point.
Yes.
The bar appears to have largely emptied out.
Yes.
Okay, continue, please.
You got home by 12:10, huh? And you're walking home on a snowy, icy night.
Pause
You think you're going to get there in 5 minutes? Closer to 12:14.
it. There we go.
When, if you look it up on Google, it's an 8-minute walk on a normal
You know
day.
who that person is who's leaving the bar? at
10
this point
minutes
at
with
12:13
ice.
and 43 a.m.?
Means he got home at 12:24.
But there
at the
wasn't
earliest.
ice. We
I believe
have to
it's
give
me.
that to him. There was not ice. It had just started to snowfall.
But it's still slushy and slippery when you're walking, when there's been any type of like water on the ground. You're not going to walk as fast. You're going to walk a little
Agreed.
bit slower, especially after you've had a few drinks.
So
Yeah, you'd be
having
sliding all
now
over the
viewed
place.
that video with the timestamp of 12:13 and about 43 seconds or so, does that refresh your memory as to when you left the waterfall?
Yes.
That would mean it would have been impossible for you to get home to Maple Street by 12:05 or 12:10, correct?
Correct.
Now, it was about maybe a 7-minute walk home. Would you agree with me?
From Waterfall to Maple? No, I said 7 minutes from D&E to Waterfall. Waterfall to Maple is probably less than 5 minutes.
Less
So
than
Look at
you're
us
five
on
saying
minutes.
Google,
that
buddy.
D&E is closer to the waterfall than the waterfall is to Maple Street?
D&E's farther away from Waterfall than farther away from where I live than Waterfall is.
I understand.
Oh, I don't follow you. I'm sorry.
I'll try to clarify. I
Okay.
don't mean to be confusing here.
It's fine.
I'm not asking about the distance between D&E and your home. I'm trying to compare or ask you to compare the distance between D&E and the waterfall, and then the waterfall. And do you see the difference? So,
Spelled out like
would you agree with me that your
Not
home
smartest.
is farther from the waterfall than D&E Pizza is from the waterfall?
Good
I don't follow
point.
you. I'm sorry.
Why did nobody
Okay,
offer Chris a ride
so
home?
let's take it step by step.
Why did he have to
D&E
walk in the
Pizza
snow?
to the waterfall.
Or the
And why
start
did
of-
nobody ask them if
Yes.
they had a ring camera at their
How many
house?
establishments, if you know, are between D&E Pizza and the waterfall?
Just a few.
Okay, so it's a very short walk from
Yes.
D&E Pizza to the waterfall,
Yes.
correct?
He's trying to say
home on Maple
waterfall
Street is
and
not
D&E
on the
Pizza
same
is
street as the
longer.
waterfall, correct?
But
off of the same
why
street.
did nobody
But
ask
it's not
him if
on the
they had
same
a
street.
ring
No.
camera to prove when he
And
came home?
your home on Maple Street is farther from the waterfall than D&E Pizza is to
His
the
brother's a
waterfall.
cop. Come
Correct.
on.
Okay.
I didn't understand it earlier.
No, I
Apologies.
know it. I'm trying to work through this because, again, I'm not trying to trick you here. I just want to get the answer. So you would agree with me that it would take you longer to walk home from the waterfall than it would take you to walk to the waterfall from D&E Pizza.
Correct.
All right. And I believe you said that one walk was 7 minutes and one walk was maybe less than 5 minutes, correct?
Yes.
All right. The 7-minute walk would have been the walk home as opposed to the walk to the waterfall, correct?
Oh, he's trying to switch them.
Yes.
All right.
Because his
So-
waterfall and D&E is much
You
closer
have
than
agreed
his
that you left the
house.
bar at 12:13, almost 12:14, according to the video, and it would have taken you about 7 minutes to walk home, correct?
Not exactly sure how. I
Can I
think
see Councilor Temper for just a second, please?
Bev, what the hell? Nobody even objected. Why is she getting involved? Like, she is one of the worst judges I've ever seen besides the Delphi trial. That one takes the cake. Judge Gull, number one, is the worst I've ever seen. But Judge Bev is probably number two. That doesn't make any sense. You don't interject unless there's something crazy. You call balls and strikes as a judge. You're not interfering the way this woman is interfering.
Yeah, especially if there's no objection.
Right.
That's crazy.
Canton, Massachusetts.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Well, you got to make it bigger. How do you make it bigger? That's what she said.
And that. Good morning, jury. Good morning, judge. Good morning, fine people of
I'm having trouble
Norfolk
with the
County.
audio on
Sorry
this
about
one.
that.
Let me go
Excuse
back.
me.
He may have
Good morning,
something
Dunkin'
on it
Donuts.
where
Oh,
he gave us
for
permission.
their
She
birthday,
gave us
I bring,
permission to play, but
I hear the audio. It's just really
We
small.
hear it. It's
when the
just small.
trooper got
do you hear it? I don't
Can
hear
you
it on my end.
please
That's
repeat
weird.
that, but this time
Sometimes that happens. Jimmy said
in
that before when he tries to
American,
play things he can't hear
the
it.
Alberts
Right,
and the
let me try.
McCabe's had
How's
nothing to
that?
do with this.
Oh my
I
God,
don't
I
even know
love
why I'm
this.
here.
Can you hear it now?
A several neighbor did provide.
Yes,
Wait a
we
minute.
can hear it.
I don't know who the mustache
Container,
person
plastic
was.
container,
It's
we
Baby
sealed,
Brian.
and,
Baby Brian
kind of,
Jr.
So you
Oh,
guys
okay.
can hear it
can't
because I
remember.
can't.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
we can hear it.
Yes. Down to the
Yes.
station, to the
Yes.
Canton Police Department.
Oh, I know I can't hear it. Hang on, I got to get rid of the other one.
My two friends. It was a very circumstantial situation. Yes, the bitchiest girls in Canton. Yes. Yes. We did
Yes.
put the before we did inform the Massachusetts State Police. I don't know.
How has nobody
Yes.
discovered Auntie Deb
You know,
before now?
we all went home. I know they should not be that bitchy looking like that. I understand. The Canton Police Department. Yes, of course I am. Why else my eyebrows look like this? Yes. I wish he had. He doesn't even look me in the eye anymore. He procedurally the swabs in having a White Claw inside the cups. Wishes Colin was his son. Keep it moving, please.
He wishes Colin.
Boston Police
Colin
took the
might be.
waterfall. 30 years.
We don't know.
Bukaki. Come home. I go upstairs. We're tired. I say goodnight to my parents. I kiss them goodnight.
I kissed them
Well,
good
yeah.
night.
Say,
What
I love you. Thank you for
frickin'
being my angels.
18-year-old
Bukaki.
kisses
And I
their
come
parents
downstairs
good night?
and I say
My daughter
prayers.
was like,
Yeah.
stay away from
Well,
me.
I don't know. He
Let
must
me
have
do what I
confused
want
his
to do.
notes. I'm not sure. Having a couple of White Claws, as usual. Let's move on. They came over and we
Nothing
went
wrong
to-
with
we
having a
went to
White
bed as
Claw.
usual. Pinky
I
swear.
quite call.
So Jackson, can we get this over with? Okay, this is my off season. Usually by this time, I'm already over the Sagamore Bridge, knee deep in clams. And I forgot. Just my White Claw. Thank you. Thank you. Where's Julie Albert? Julie, can I have some of that White Claw? I don't, did I take a picture? Did I mean to take a picture? I don't know. Maybe he thought that I meant something else.
Thank you, Paul.
It was all her. You know, yeah, you know, the talking like girlfriends. Yes, just talking like girlfriends.
Me and Karen talking like
The
girlfriends.
Oriental neighbors. Yeah. The
Oriental
Asians.
neighbors.
How regular normal girlfriends would.
Oh man. This was his first one, by the way, guys. I actually, yeah, this was his
Are we
first one.
girlfriends?
He's genius.
No. Do you mind using different words? I've never talked to him.
Can you rephrase that? Those words are too big. Oh my god! Oh my god! I never caught that before.
A number. No. Could you say that in English?
Can you really say fa-ra-ra?
The witness advocate.
Okay, I gotta quit laughing. That's not funny.
The witness advent calendar. Sustained. Okay. Let's move on. Could you please rephrase
I really want to send
those
Auntie
words?
Deb a really good wig.
I'll allow it. Can you answer that
I
question?
can't handle the yellow.
Can you, honey? Are you that
I can't
stupid?
handle the yellow.
Claps.
Really funny. Great.
Let's proceed. I had rolled.
Yeah, he is the best. I was fortunate enough that he actually, I emailed him the day that when this came out. I found his email immediately, and I just said, "You are so talented. You have to do whatever you can do with this because you are on par. You have to do the other characters." And we just started emailing, and we became buddies. So we've been buddies since he put this very first one out. And I mean, I kind of think of him like I told him I feel like he's my godson. I called him my godson. But
I would so love to do one of these memes with him, because when I was on the Stephen Avery case, I did Pam of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I did somebody else too. I can't remember who it was.
I wanted to
but
do
I
a
had
Mean
so
Girls
much
skit
fun
with
do
him.
it. I
Remember
would
that
so
cat?
love to do it.
Remember when I wanted to do a Mean Girls skit with him?
It actually, oh yeah, that's right. And I think it was his next one that made him blow up, Sherry D. This one he had a lot of views on, but I don't know if you guys want to see it. His biggest one was episode 3. It was episode 3 where he just blew up. I mean, I cry. I mean, I cry on that.
I'm gonna go to bed soon, so we can get through Chris.
We're not going to get through Chris. I made an executive decision that I have to make for my own self, for my body, because I have been on the phone almost all day today working on the Ellen Greenberg case, and I cannot do any more Chris tonight. So we are going to have
3 hours. Yeah,
about 20 minutes left of Chris. So we're going to have to just kind of see what's left of Chris. We'll take whatever, we can speed it up if we need to, so we can get right to Julie. Cause I think Julie will take up our whole time, or at least part of it. If Julie and Chris don't take up most of our time, Nicole comes right after Julie. And I don't believe her testimony was very long at all. We may be able to, I'll take a look at it and I'll time it out, knowing how much the chat and you guys all love to talk. So I'll do a better job of timing it out.
I don't like to talk. What are you freaking talking about?
You like Carrie, you chatter.
I got to pull up one more.
I tell everything.
Because I'm watching him on my phone because I can't hear when I'm in this green room. But I don't know. No, that's not the right one. I got to pull up one more Auntie Deb to end our night. And it is episode 3. I believe that was the one he had the most views on at the time. Let me go find. There you are. Let me find it.
Auntie Deb made an appearance on Social Change Warriors. A little bit early on. It was great for him to join us.
Actually, he's been on twice.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
missed the first one. I got to go back.
He was on twice with us where he just, I sent him the green room and he just popped in. I sent him the green room tonight on an outside chance we could get one of his characters to pop in, but I know he's been super busy with his own channel, so I didn't know. But I knew in advance. He gave me permission a long time ago in an email that if I ever wanted to play any of his wonderful, amazing comedy, that we can do that. So
yeah, because you don't want to get one of those copyright strikes that are going.
Oh God, no! I don't want him to do that to me. So I'm going to email him immediately when we close out. Hey, I played your parody tonight. But episode 3. So it looks like this is where the first
he
one
can be vicious. Come on.
Yeah, he was at like 11K views, and then he was at 12, and then right after episode 3 he popped up to 15, and then episode 7 he was up to 23. So yeah, this is kind of where he took off really quickly because they're all just so funny, and then he stayed in the way high, and I think he had one that was even higher than that. But I love episode 3. It's hysterical. I love it mostly because of the Madam Court Reporter. When you guys are gonna laugh so hard, so I have to pull this up on my phone because I want to follow along with you guys because I can't hear it for some reason. When I play all the other videos,
Stop it, Deidre. You're not a dog. You're Betty Davis. You are Betty Davis.
All right, let me pull this up.
We're gonna have to do a side by side with Deirdre and Betty Davis because we're gonna have to because she definitely has Betty Davis sides.
Oh,
that's better than Patty Hearst.
Yeah,
Sherry, I hope your pooch
oh my
has a better
God!
tummy.
I lived in Illinois when Patty Hearst went through all that, and I was 15. Or I was 5 when it happened, and I can remember seeing all that. You do not look anything like Patty Hearst.
Okay,
Betty
I've got
Davis. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna hit play.
He wasn't there.
Oh, I
He
can hear
couldn't
this
have
one.
been. He don't drink beer. So I did mention this yesterday, and I have to tell you again. No, I won't lie. So ever.
Why is sweet
You are
potato
about to hear in the courtroom questions
Wait,
being
I gotta
asked.
get this
I never threw it out in the trash. He's a whiskey drinker. I placed it in the garbage. And as we say,
I gotta go back. I gotta get this.
He wasn't there. He couldn't have been. He don't drink beer. So I did mention this yesterday, and I have to tell you again. No, I don't lie. So ever. What you are about to hear in the courtroom, questions being asked, I never threw it out in the trash. He's a whiskey drinker. I placed it in the garbage. And as we say in Canton, please let it only affect 16.5% of your interpretation and perception of this witness. If you got Jameson and ginger, pour me 5. I stand before you a very honest human.
I'm not drinking.
Oh my God.
As it pertains to.
It doesn't get old.
As it pertains to proceeds the events of February 6th, okay? Got hammered, had a wicked crazy hangover. Sustained. It's like I always say, slept all day.
Oh no, the big one was when he was doing Proctor. What Proctor said.
Higgins ain't here. I have tweeted that so many times, and I get people to crack up laughing every time. I have to replay that. I love it when he says this. Everybody listen. It's just hysterical.
Yeah, went out for more drinks at Hillside.
To visit it.
Higgins sustained.
You got to send him a dark wig.
Wait. That's it. Guys, okay, everybody shush. I want you to hear this because I have put so many tweets that you guys have laughed at, and I didn't know if you guys knew why.
Sustained. If all you got is beer, Higgins ain't here. Went out for more drinks at Hillside. I'll allow it.
I need to send him a wig for Jen McCabe, and I need to send him a wig for Auntie Bev.
I know you ask questions, Mr. Jackson, but that definitely was not a question, okay?
Oh Oh my God.
I loved the one with Proctor when he played Proctor.
Oh, we'll play some more next week. He's the absolute best. So talented. I just can't get over his talent. It's be able to do parody like that is an amazing gift. So does anybody have anything else for tonight? Any questions, any comments? Thank you to everybody who hung with us tonight. Your comments were so awesome. We literally picked apart. We're sorry, Chris. These ladies just picked you apart with a fine-tooth comb, as they say. You never had a chance, my friend. You never had a chance. You were going to get picked apart as, just like you got to comb your kitty cat.
The huge problem is, for me, that he says Brian Higgins and Brian Albert arrived together. We'll get to Brian Albert's testimony later, but he said I left like over 15 minutes before Brian Higgins did. If people were not listening and writing notes, they never would have caught it.
Right.
And you get no readbacks.
Deirdre, what do you think?
I'm speechless. Was
it the pineapple?
I'm never going to look at pineapple the same way again.
Deirdre, did we have you at pineapple?
Yeah, kind of did.
Well,
no, it's amazing. It's amazing that for as much time and prep as they had, that we're still able to catch them on these little things. But I think the way the whole trial was structured and closing arguments and stuff, limiting them, that it was so hard to really point these things out to the jury.
Mm-hmm. She handcuffed them. They were doing a defense with one hour. Back.
Yeah,
that's
1.5 hours.
That's
I watched the Sorry, guys. I have a favor. If one of you or two of you could coordinate, if somebody could email me the link so that next week we can show I'll send Microdots a message, make sure it's okay. But I think if we show it as fair use just for a few minutes here and there, I don't think he'll mind. But I do. If anyone here knows Microdots, I don't even know him. But if somebody knows him,
Sherry might.
I just would like permission. I don't want to show anything because he produces those himself, so I don't want to show anything without his permission. And then we could show those videos that he has.
I can message Tom CPU if Sherry D does not have a direct contact.
Okay, that'd be great. I just don't want to show those without permission. And there was something else you guys mentioned you wanted me to show. Other than Microdots, I forgot. I thought there was one other video that you wanted to show.
JFK.
But somebody has to. Amber's in tight with them. Somebody has to get permission. I don't want to use any other creators without permission. I had Jimmy's permission.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm tight with them since FAFO happened in their chat. So
I do. I also have a connection with JFK, so I can message him and ask him if we can use.
Just a bit, and we'll obviously give them credit and have commentary. And I'm still in love with those boys. I still love JFK and James.
They are fabulous.
I don't care if I'm ghosted at the moment. I still love them.
It's all good. We all have our own opinions that have happened.
You're doing a stroke. She did a turbulence. That was awesome.
That was
good. I have a favor before we close out tonight for anybody that wants to stay for 2 more minutes or 3 more minutes, however long this could take. There is a second version of our song. So I wanted to play the first version that I played at the beginning and then play the second version right on top of it to see what you guys think of the difference in the 2 versions. I like them both, but I have my favorite, but I don't want to say until you guys hear them both. So I have to add one up to the stream. So hang on a second. I have one of them already in the stream, but let me add the other one up.
And we're going to let you make your own decision. I'm not even going to influence you.
I'm
not even going to tell you which one I like.
I'm curious which one you like.
I'll let you know. They're very similar, but they're different. Like, it's weird. I had my friend who's in a band, Tiger. She's been in some of our lives. She's going to actually record it and sing it live for us.
Is your phone red?
Hmm?
Is your phone red?
Yeah, my phone
That's
is red
fine.
for the UW. I'm pairing my phone right now to StreamYard so that I can upload the other version of the song. I have to find it first. I think this is.
They're both really good. They really are.
Yeah, you guys have heard both versions, but I was just curious if the people that are still hanging with us, if they would consider pairing successful. Okay. Now, what does it want me to do? Your mobile device.
My son has a red phone too, Julie.
I guess red is the color.
Is it a power color? It's a power color.
Okay, now we got it in there. So I'm going to play the one you already have heard. I'm just going to replay that because that's the one we listened to at the beginning, so you can remember what that one sounds like. And then I'll play the other version. So here is the one that we played at the beginning.
What are we calling this? Are we calling this A or 1?
This is B. This is B.
Oh, this one.
B as in boy.
They try to silence the truth we shout.
Are you hearing it?
But we're still here. We're still.
Nobody's hearing it?
I am.
Okay, hang on.
Let
me remove some of this other stuff from the platform. First of all, if I'll take Jimmy off. Stop screen. Yes, I'll stop screen sharing. I think that causes a problem for some people possibly. So okay, now I'm not screen sharing, so you guys should be able to.
Son Jay is feeling.
Let me know again. Let me know, Deirdre, if you can hear it or not. Okay, I'll play it again.
Now, corruption hides behind a badge and name.
No.
We light the fire.
It's
not playing it.
Going on? That makes no
stopped.
sense. Yeah, I stopped it. Were you guys hearing it?
Yeah.
We can hear. Deirdre can't for some reason.
Oh, for some reason, Deirdre, I don't know what's going on, why you can't hear it. That's very strange.
Okay, I'll just dance and pretend like I do.
Yeah, but I'm gonna
Way to take one for the team, Deirdre. Come on.
Chat can hear it. Chat can hear it.
Okay, check it. So something's going on with your mic, Deirdre. I'm gonna mute you since everybody else can hear it. I'm gonna mute all of you so that everybody can not hear you guys and hear it.
Shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power, but their hearts are cold. Truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they try to bury within. It's just us, we're movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight. The heavy wounds, undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall for justice and truth. We'll risk it all. My life mattered is the cry we sing. Together we rise. Let freedom
That's B, and that's the one that I played last night, and then I had not uploaded A yet. So you'll be able to tell the difference. It's very subtle at times, but I can absolutely tell the difference. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys all think. Thanks for helping me with this.
They try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge and name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they try to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run or hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives, we can't just weep. Elected power, but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life matters is the cry we sing for the ones they try to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run or hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight to heal the wounds, undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall. For justice and truth, we'll risk it all. My life matters is the cry we sing. Together we rise, let freedom ring.
So what'd you think? There we go.
Bangers.
So-
All right, now bangers. That's all I have to say.
So those are
love it.
both the versions. I'll tell you my opinion, and then I do want to hear all of your opinions. I love them both, and I absolutely cannot choose. So we're going to use one for the intro and one for the exit because I just like them both so much, and I it's a toying cost.
One for the intro and two for the exit.
One for the intro, one for the exit. Just
No.
about
A or B.
The first song she played was B, and the second song she played was A.
Yeah.
So I know it's a
Okay.
little backwards.
Yeah, I played them backwards because B is my favorite. I'll tell you that much. I absolutely love the crescendo of her voice at the end of B. It gives me goosebumps. So I think that B will start out the show and then A will finish the show. Because A's kind of funky and it's kind of a good way to go out, but it's also a little calmer with her voice. Like she's not raising her voice as much. She's not hitting as many high notes. B hits a lot of high notes, and I feel like that's a little bit better for the intro. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So the first one for the intro that you played and the second one for the outro. What do you guys think about that?
No, that's what I said.
Me too.
Same.
Oh, good.
When I heard B, it was the same thing. I got goosebumps, and I'm like, you need that to rev people up, and then the other one to calm down and listen to the words a little more.
Yeah, the other one you can hear the words better. A, you can hear the words better in A, but B is just so kind of dynamic, and with her being able to hit those high notes in there. So we do have a friend who's in a band, and she does want to record one of the versions. She's going to record the one that suits her voice the best. So she'll come on and live sing at some point for us.
Wow.
She plays guitar. She's so talented, and I want to help her out in any way I can, because she's trying to find work and trying to, she auditions for bands, so she'll be able to use this for her auditions. So she's a fantastic lady, and I just want to help her in any way we can, and she's going to help us, because it'll be really wonderful to have her sing live on one of our episodes. So it'll just be great. And so our artistic department is working on the intro and the outro video, and so that'll hopefully come along in early March, and that'll be fun. For now, I'm just using the slide deck to show photos of all of our wonderful humans that did not get to live long enough on this planet, and that we are fighting with their families for justice. So we will have a lot of updates. I'm just going to give you guys a small little, Amber hates it when I do this, but I'll tell you later. We have some huge updates for Ellen Greenberg that have occurred since Wednesday. And I will be telling you all about those next week. I have to get with the team to figure out what day we're going to live stream the updates. I'm praying something will come up between now and then as well with this judge. So, but I was able to connect. Some amazing people reached out to me today and gave me information I did not know about.
Can you remind us what's the next date for Ellen Greenberg?
But you mean when the judge is supposed to have an answer for the family?
Yes.
By the 31st.
Okay.
So one day next week, whenever that answer comes, we will just do a live show that night. Even if we already have something else booked, we'll just do the update for like 15 minutes, and then we can plan another full live show for her for the following week. We did actually get another thank you in an email from her mom. And so she said to thank all the social change warriors. So that includes all of you that have been coming to our live streams and contributing and helping us pick that case apart and go over the evidence. We also got a thank you note today from Justice for Ellen Greenberg from the Facebook group. And those are run, I believe, by her cousins.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was really something. And then we heard from two individual ladies who have been working on this case. Marie joined us a little bit Wednesday. You met Marie. I heard from someone who needs to remain anonymous today. I'm calling her our librarian, and she provided some pretty amazing content to me today that is really not known. And I am not prepared to share it until I get permission from Ellen's family. So to me, it's huge. It's huge information that could potentially turn this whole case around for them. And
Kat, can you share the information that you posted on X about?
Yeah. So there is Gavin Fish. If you guys want to go, he has an entire library. He has covered Ellen Greenberg's case just so thoroughly. And he has the actual footage of the lobby surveillance cameras. And there is a gentleman in the lobby at about the same time as he was in the lobby. They did not run into each other, but they crossed paths per se. And there's a very interesting thing that happens. And I don't know if the police ever noticed this, or if they did and ignored it, or if only our librarian, who's super intelligent and loves to look at video, noticed it. But at one point, as Sam is in his gym shorts and he's making his way towards the gym doors, he drops something. And you have to be watching this so close, because you know how kind of foggy, right, these videos are. He drops something and you can't really tell what it is. But my librarian has zoomed in, and she thinks he dropped his key card, but she's not sure yet. She's going to do more of it. But
that's not what I wanted you to share. I wanted you to share the fact that her bags were packed.
Right. I found out information that her, and I'll talk about this next week, that they found a suitcase packed in the room, and she was not wearing her engagement ring when they found her. So that's clear.
The most dangerous time, you said.
Right. Yes, the most dangerous time for a woman that's been abused,
when they lose control,
domestic violence, is when they tell their abuser that they're leaving, that's it. I'm done. I'm not living with you anymore. I'm not accepting your abuse anymore. Usually they've been telling this person that for quite a while. that it would explain the bruises in different healing stages, because I think he was beating her up more frequently, because I think she was standing up to him and she was telling him, I'm out of here if you don't quit doing this, or I'm going to leave.
I never told my ex-husband. I did it behind his back.
That's typically what the domestic violence shelter therapists and counselors recommend, is that you have an exit strategy and that you bring a family member to the house. So if that was her exit day, she should have had her mother or her best friend or her dad. Somebody should have been there with her for the exit. But you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. She wasn't going to do it that way for whatever reason. And that is a travesty, because her life ended, in my opinion, her life ended because she was choosing to leave. Now,
for me, I rented a house, didn't even tell him.
Right.
Already had people come to help me move. He never even had a clue that I was leaving. That was the first time I left him.
That's very rare, though. Most women aren't prepared like that, and we need to do a better job of educating them how to get out.
When he stood in front of me and my 4 children and said, I should just take the shotgun and shoot you right now. That's when I started to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. And until a woman actually realizes that she needs to go to a shelter for help or assistance, they're able to counsel you and explain to you what your exit plan needs to be, and that you have to have a go bag hidden somewhere, and you need to have some cash hidden somewhere. And what goes into a woman who's being beaten on a regular basis to get them out of that house is nothing short of a miracle, that more women do not end up murdered, like the ladies unalived, the ladies that we have, like Suzanne Morphew. I'm 100% sure that was a domestic violence situation, whether it was verbal and then led up to that day. We know Sandra Birchmore was. We knew Jennifer Farbo-Dulis was, even though her body has never been found. And her husband was so afraid of going through the trial that he unalived himself in the garage of their home. So he did not pay for his crime, and he never told anyone where she was, which was his most evil thing he could possibly do to his 5 children and to her family, is to unalive himself and not tell where he put her. That, to me, you cannot get any more evil than that. And
at some point, I may ask my daughter, because she is now well above the age, and she may come on here and tell her story of remembering the stuff that she went through.
That would be something. Julie asked me permission to post something that has to do with women. So this week, the newly elected 47 fired the commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard. She was the first and only woman in charge of a branch of the armed forces, then cut all programs for advancement for women. Oh boy.
Wow.
Well,
wow.
I'll tell you what, Julie, hang on 2 seconds. I live with someone called Digital Warrior, and I do that on a separate night. It has my crime is bipartisan. My Wednesday nights for women is bipartisan, but I'm not going to pretend to be someone I'm not. And I've had a few people come in and bawl me out in my DMs and in my PMs and say, well, if you're this, then I'm not coming. I unsubscribed. I'm not going to come to your shows. Hey, that's okay. You have every right to do what you want. I'm allowed to have my opinions on politics and on government and on community that are separate and apart from what I do.
And we don't agree. Our politics don't agree, but we still work together for corruption.
Correct. So I am bipartisan 90% of the time when I live stream, but I have live streamed, and I always tell you all that I'm going to live stream on Tuesdays because that's voting day. And my grandmother was an older woman. My dad and mom were both involved in their unions, and were very heavily involved in helping them with raises in the 70s and 80s. So I grew up in a very political family. And so I do some live streams, and they're on politics, and they're Democrat leaning to independent, but I am not a conservative. So you don't have to come those nights, and I respect you. You can vote for who you want, and we can still fight crime together. Unfortunately, some people, when they saw me doing some of these political shows, they unsubscribed to our channel. So they obviously don't want to help us find criminals and call out crime. that's okay. Everybody can beat to their own drummer, but I will be happy to, if you ever want to come to one of my lives on politics on Tuesdays, you are welcome. You can debate with me. You can tell us your side of the story. I am happy to hear. I don't believe I'm always right. I don't believe Democrats are always right and Republicans are always wrong. I would never believe that Republicans are always right and Democrats. No, nobody's always right. This is a very insane situation that goes on in our political system right now, where it's I'm all right and you're all wrong. I'm going to get elected and I'm going to take away everything you ever did, even if it was good, just to spite you. Even if it was for programs for women or programs for the poor, I'm going to get rid of it because you did it. That is so insane to me. It's so juvenile and so terrible. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Julie.
That's what I have to say about this channel is none of us, I mean, all of us don't have the same political beliefs. We don't all have the same agreement across the board.
Right.
But we come together for the issues that need to be exposed.
Yes, and that's okay. We can disagree on policy and we can disagree on politics. That we're humans. We're allowed to do that. Everybody has their own opinion. And that's Julie says we are all Americans and humans at the end of the day, and we're all neighbors. I have wonderful neighbors here. We don't agree on politics at all. So we just don't talk about it because we're never going to agree. And I don't like to beat my head into a wall. I don't want to convince someone to think the way I do. I can think the way I do. They can think the way they do. And we can still be neighbors and friends and get along. And that's really what it is at the end of the day. So thank you, Julie, for sharing that with us. That obviously affected a woman. And maybe we can talk about that on one of our Wednesday night Angry Bitch Clubs where we can talk a little bit. I'm sure there's a lot being said about it. So thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Thanks for sticking around and just hanging out. We were going to hang out anyway. So
hey, Kat, I wanted to say one thing before you wrap it up. If you're able and you know how to do it, Oblivious Benson is currently live right now. And
she should be able to see it. Where
she
can
send the chat that way if you're not able to
them
do that.
over.
Okay, so how do I don't know how to do that. Can you send her a message and ask her how
YouTube.
I do that?
If you look at your YouTube and not your StreamYard.
But see, I have to be in the StreamYard. I can't go to you. I have to stay in the studio. I can't run
there. All right. Well, we're gonna have to ask Shirley to teach us how to do this.
Yeah, you could if you want to.
I will do it. I'll do it later.
All right, you'll show us how to do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, FYI, when we wrap up, go check out Oblivious Benson. She's incredibly funny, and it helps relieve some comic relief.
Let me see if I can just pull it up here without doing all that other fancy stuff for a minute, because I know she won't mind.
Deidre, do you have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Good night.
Thank you, Deirdre. Thank you, Deirdre. Thank you, Deirdre.
We scared her off with pineapples.
You should have had more than that. Come on. Words
no,
of wisdom.
I have to go potty.
Oh.
She's like,
I need to go. I have to go potty.
I'll see.
I love you. I love you, Deidre. Oh my God.
It's not going to hold it.
Let me see if I can pull this up. I'll see if I can do it. I'm not positive it'll work, but I know she won't mind because she's not going to care if we do this. So let me see if we can do it. Okay. There's.
No, you're not doing it.
That looks like a live show to me. Okay.
Can, like,
I have to go add it to the room.
Let's see what I can do here.
I can't even see my Amber. I hate that.
Her pretty face will be back soon.
Try this. I mean, this isn't the best option
you
here.
that?
You get a little.
That's how you.
kick.
Oh, there she is.
I think it's a lot like. No, I'm not gonna do that again. It's like. When
she's on with. Is that Abby?
Person is making a video.
I think
and
that's
it's
Abby.
Like,
yeah.
Oh my God!
Say to everyone, and then it goes.
Oh, this is
and
gonna
then they're
be
over
good.
here, and they're like that.
There's Hugin in the background in Vietnam.
It's a jump cut almost. You can
Hugin
get jump cuts that you accidentally fuck up the video file. So there's some that will
Abby
go backwards.
posted today,
and then there's some that you have to kind of see who did this. You know what I mean? At what time did they do this? If they wipe those logs, then you no longer really have the history of who did what. It's kind of like if they took all the fucking list
everything she was saying from the beginning
threw it out a fucking
true.
window.
She was right.
Yeah, she figured out that she got the
And that's where I talk about the container, right? So there's pointer files. So if you change, again, if I wanted to change the video around, if theoretically I wanted to cut something here, cut something there.
Do you guys see me type
and
in her chat
say,
box?
Again, because these specific file types, Premiere, graphic editor program, they won't ingest them.
I see you chatting.
So if I wanted
I'm in her
which I
chat box.
I ended up actually
She said that
changing a
everything
file
she
enough that I
thought
was able to play it in Equivision until I crashed the
and that
program,
the
until I corrupted it.
defense's
But
filing
for
proved
example, what I
she
did
said
is
months ago.
AVIs and MP4s will not play in the Equivision media player, which is what we saw, what we think we saw in court. So if I wanted to play an AVI file, it's not going to play it. It will only play those executable files, so the exe container files. But say I wanted to export an AVI to give to the defense, right? It's not going to have that time
That
code
is
in it.
Oblivious Benson.
And I tested that too. So you know how we saw the time code on the bottom? If you export it as an AVI, it's
Abby,
not going
who goes
to
by
put the time code on the video.
What does she go by?
It's going to put the time code on the video.
Video Jesus.
Because that exe file contains the time code within that little container.
No, she's just playing it.
Did you have a log parser or anything, or does that not work on these?
I didn't. I honestly,
I hate to bring up dinosaurs again, but what about Velociraptor? Because it is a good program. I don't know if it'll work for that, but
well, here's the thing too. So you'll have some of that information in the container, but you also have that in the program itself. So for example, if I open up Equivision and it will say, okay, at this time this was recorded, I logged in at this time. That's actually within the actual program file. So that's where
Amber
I'm saying they actually probably deleted those logs.
Amber,
that
girl knows her shit.
They went into the root program file. They literally manually deleted the
logs folder.
She's an Emmy winner too, like MIDI.
So they found logs
Abby
folder,
knows
which
her
is
shit.
It's always going to be under logs.
Yes. You
Oh,
understand me?
look
Yes.
at Melissa.
Okay,
with
so
one
here's
S
what they
and
did,
that was
everyone.
what she
Let me
shot
by the
on
program.
too.
Let me
If you
explain
use
this
it
in
in the
wrestling
program.
terms. I finally fucking get it. Okay, this is actually way bigger than I thought. Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is Melissa with
So
one
when you
S is
explained
George Ferguson.
talking
If you
about
don't
it,
know.
we were in dummy mode. So when we were talking about it earlier, I was like, but how would
Oh
they
my
do
god,
that?
the faces I'm making are so bad.
I don't know why I flaked on this,
All right,
but
so
I forgot
how do
it
we
is
get
just
them
like
over to
audio.
her?
You can just
We're trying
delete
to
the
figure
log
this out,
event folder.
Melissa.
You can delete all the logs.
How
You
do
can just
we
do that.
send our chat
In self-extraction.
chat?
Yeah.
You'd have to shut down the program
some
first, though.
boomers.
So these programs are very.
We need
again,
Abby
it's
to
like
teach us this.
I call
Abby
it
knows what
fetch
she's
and
doing.
retrieve.
Yeah.
In simple
We're
terms,
stuck?
fetch
What
and
does it mean?
retrieve
Oh,
program.
we're stuck with
Change
getting them
anything
over?
inside the program itself. So say I wanted to delete the logs. It's
Okay.
going to, within the program interface
What is
itself,
Jack doing?
it's going to show me Abby deleted this, right? Because I did it
Yeah.
within the program. But if you go to the folder
I'm
and you shut down
typing
the
in the
program,
chat
right?
box.
You go in the folder, you literally delete the activity logs, and there's
You're
a
such
database
a change
file in there, like a
warriors.
pointer file. What you do is you copy that database pointer file, you copy it to a separate folder, you delete it, and then you add it back in.
So
And that
it
way
is
it will
like
refresh. It will
fucking A.
refresh it.
I'm a dummy. I get it now.
It's
Okay.
the Amber K.
Literally, like, okay. Try this,
I'm
everyone.
writing
This
in
is,
the
this
chat.
is the metaphor, and then we'll do a wrestling one. Okay, you've
But
got.
I just went there
a Google
manually. So y'all
document,
are gonna have
right?
to go there
You
manually if
open
we don't know
Google
how to do it.
Doc, you type, right? Then you open. You know what? We'll just do a live. Because this makes a lot of sense. Like it makes sense now. Okay. So basically, with a lot of these different programs, especially with audio, you can go back, and with photos, you can go back and you can change shit in it. One time we talked about how you can go into the tools and you can open up all of the information in your tools and you can change it with actual HTML code. And what you're seeing on the screen when you change it is going to pop up for anyone that clicks that link, even if it's not really what's there, if that makes sense. So if you have New York Times article, you can go into
how do
up
we
here, you would click like the three dots. I'll show it to you guys.
Like,
It's not gonna let me show up, but
how
you
do
would
we
go
say
to
good
like
night? Love y'all. Go head
more
over to
tools, or you could go to settings. There's really a
will
couple
just
of different ways you could go
type
to it.
that in our
But you
chat
could basically open up and inspect, and that's going to
Okay,
show
yeah,
you
I did
everything,
put,
all the
like,
code for everything you
what the
point to on the
actual
page,
copy and
right?
paste,
So when you do that, there's
URL is.
because
She
I
gave
don't
me
know.
the
I
by
wish
the
I
way,
could show it, but it
give
would
a
show all my
thumbs up
private
for us
shit
to do this.
because it would have to
Oh,
show all
okay.
that.
I love her.
So you would basically go and you would go to inspect.
Ernie Birdie says we
open
should
that,
just
and it
push all the
gives you all this
buttons.
jibbery babble on the side,
Well,
right?
That's how
You
we
would
should
go and
figure
you
it out. Just push
scroll
all
over the
buttons.
part on the page that you want to change. So if you
I
scroll
don't
over the
have a clue
headline,
how to do it.
which is dog bites man, right?
And I'm
You
too
scroll over
tired.
that, and when you look in the inspect folder on the side that you've opened up in your panel, it's going to highlight where that is in the code.
Yeah.
Then you go click on that, and it's going to expand it, and then you see all the code below. And then you go in and you highlight the words dog bites man, and you type in man bites dog or bird bites dog. That's good. Bird bites dog. And then you hit enter, and then you take that URL, copy paste it, send it to someone. When they click it, they're going to get the exact same page, New York Times article, everything, but theirs is going to say bird bites dog. So it's manipulated. It's only temporary, but it's kind of how people say they swayed the election a couple of times.
Hi, Rabbit. How are you
Change any
doing?
headline. You could, instead
we're
of saying Justin
cross-contaminating.
Thoreau or Justin Trudeau, whatever his name is, had a black face, they could change it to Clinton.
This is
and boom, it looks
incest.
legit. It's on the New York Times.
This is
what was
incest,
the,
ma'am. That's
what was the monkey infestation
You do
movie?
the same with audio and video. So
a little bit
if you were to open a Google Doc, right?
We were getting a little bit of feedback, so I think you guys can just head over there. But that was cool. It's good to know that there's that technology that we can actually do that for a few minutes. That was kind of cool. I love it. I love Deirdre's comment back here. Back to Friday Night Lives, please.
Oh, back to the pineapple.
I thought that we were doing that.
Deidre's gonna dream about upside down pineapples. Deidre's gonna totally dream about upside down pineapples.
When it comes to politics, I thought we did a really great job, though. I thought Julie was super respectful with what she wanted to post, and I was super respectful with how I explained how I do my things. So I appreciate all of you. That was literally 3 minutes of very minimal politics. So thank you, everyone.
We're not.
Rabbit subscribe. Thank you.
Yeah. We're gonna I'm gonna end our stream, but you guys can stay where you are. So I just want to say good night to everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. This is the longest live stream we've ever done, so we just set a record for Social Change Warriors. I hope you'll join us next Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. We'll be back for 3 more nights of shows, and we'll have lots of updates for you on all of our
blow a kiss, Deirdre. Come on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Salute. And thank you all, and take care of yourselves this week. And we will see you all next week. And thank you to my awesome panel tonight.
Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Amber.
Bye.
And you guys
Bye. Good
can
night.
stay with me for a minute in the green room. But good night, everyone. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Good night.
Hey, have fun this weekend cheering for your teams. It should be a great weekend of football. So whoever you're cheering for, go team, go.
Oh, turbulence!
Turbulence in the chat.
Turbulence. I love it. All right, everyone. Social Change
All right,
Warriors.
see y'all at OBs.